Hate merch. Hate merch. Hey. Hate merch. Hate merch. Yeah. They said that hoodie looks a little too mean. That sticker on your truck caused the whole scene. That coffee mug offended somebody online. Now they're writing essays about a t-shirt design. They call it hate merch. They call it a crime. Been talking about it for a real long time. But every complaint just helps.
Shit.
To sell, keep ringing that bell, keep ringing that bell. They say don't buy it, don't wear it around. Then they share the link all over town. Come buy your hate merch at DustParanormal.com.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, the hats are hot and the hoodies are strong. Come buy your hate merch at DustParanormal.com. If they still complaining, well, just sing along. Devils all night long. Dust devils all night long. They call the pillows hateful too. Guess they ran out of things to do. The tumblers, shirts, and stickers got blamed. Funny how the merch gets famous when it's named. Every posting, every rant turns into free advertisement. The louder they yell, the more we grin. Thanks for helping us reel them in. They say don't click it, don't shop that store. Then they tell 1,000 people more. Come buy your hate merch at DustParanormal.com. Yeah, the hats are hot and the hoodies are strong. Come buy your hate merch at DustParanormal.com. If they still complaining, well, just sing along. Dust devils standing side by side, having fun and enjoying the ride. Passion over profit, that's the way we roll. Can't cancel a channel with a rock and roll soul. Come buy your hate merch at DustParanormal.com. Grab a shirt, grab a sticker. Come and sing this song. Come buy your hate merch at DustParanormal.com. The more they complain, the more we carry on. Devils all night long. Dust devils all night long. Hate merch. They call it hate merch. We call it merch. See you at DustParanormal.com.
Important disclaimer. Before we begin, please note that all statements, claims, accusations, opinions, and commentary discussed during this live stream are allegations only unless independently verified through official public records. Nothing stated by third parties should be interpreted as established fact unless explicitly confirmed. Dust Productions / Dust Paranormal do not endorse, adopt, or affirm the opinions, allegations, claims, theories, or conclusions expressed by any individuals, channels, videos, clips, guests, callers, or chat participants featured, discussed, or reacted to during this broadcast. The views and opinions expressed by commentators, callers, guests, or members of the live chat are solely their own and do not reflect the views of Dust Productions or Dust Paranormal. Any guests appearing on this live stream are speaking in their personal capacity only, and their statements should not be interpreted as representing the views or positions of this channel. Any discussion involving criminal matters is presented for commentary, public interest discussion, and entertainment purposes only. To the best of our knowledge, no criminal convictions have been established in relation to the allegations discussed unless explicitly stated and publicly verifiable. Additionally, any jokes, satire, parody, comedic commentary, impressions, or humorous statements made during this live stream are intended strictly for entertainment purposes. They are not meant to be taken as factual assertions, nor are they intended to harass, defame, demean, or intentionally harm any individual or group. Viewer discretion is advised, and we encourage everyone to conduct their own research using publicly available information and verified sources. Now, let's get into the live stream.
No strings on me. Everybody got no strings on me. Everybody, yeah, no strings. Everybody talking, everybody got a theory. Whispering the name like the story's getting eerie. Flurry'll pull the strings, Flurry'll make the call. But maybe they're just salty cause she don't answer them at all. They say she's got a master plan controlling every stream, like she's living rent-free inside everybody's head. But the louder they complain, the more they're proving what we see. They're upset she ain't handing out friendship for free. They watch every move, every post, every show. Claim they know the truth, but they really don't know. If they're so unbothered, why they never let it be? Always looking over shoulders, wondering what she might see. I got no strings to hold me down. There are no strings on me. People making up conspiracies, trying to sell a mystery. I got no strings to hold me down. There are no strings on me. Maybe they're afraid of the tea. Maybe they're afraid of what she sees. Flurry'o got haters, Flurry'o got stalkers, keyboard investigators and late night talkers. Everybody's got a theory, everybody's got a claim, but somehow every conversation circles back to her name. They say she's brainwashing people, making channels fall in line, like she's got a magic button she can push every time. But maybe they're just bitter, maybe that's the reality. Now she doesn't wanna join that little fantasy. No puppet strings, no secret throne, no hidden kingdom to call her own. Just people talking, making noise all day while she's living life and they can't look away. I got no strings to hold me down. There are no strings on me. The rumors keep on spinning round, but that's not reality. I got no strings to hold me down. There are no strings on me. Keep on talking, keep on guessing. The truth is still the truth to me. Everybody watching, everybody wants to know why they can't let Flurry'o go. Haters and stalkers, every day the same routine, still searching for strings that have never been seen. I got no strings to hold me down. Everybody, everybody, everybody what she sees. No strings on me. Everybody.
We got one more, guys.
Yeah. Born in the Shadows where the moon don't shine. Red eyes glowing like a warning sign. Got horns on my head and a grin so wide. If you're looking for trouble, I'm already inside. Claws like razors, fur black as night. Every step I take starts another fight. Got a wicked little grin and a taste for the mess. You could bring your best shot, I'll handle the rest. I'm Scratch, king of the alley, ruler of the dark, leaving little claw marks on your heart. Scratch, tail like fire, wings spread wide, got a devil's grin and nowhere to hide. Nowhere to hide. Knew it's Dust Devil, yeah, I joined the pack. And you know this little troublemaker ain't looking back. Hanging with Boo when he's asking who. Fan out overhead, keeping watch on you. Dust Devil laughing while we're raising some hell. Welcome to Dust Paranormal where the outcast dwell. 9 lives, now I lost count at 10. I keep coming back again and again. I'm Scratch, little devil cat with a big back plan. Meanest feline in the Shadowlands. Scratch, newest Dust Devil and I'm here to stay. Bringing midnight mischief every single day.
The ghost.
Fan out.
Dust Devil.
And me. And me.
What in the hell? There we go. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the show. Welcome to Dust Paranormal. Oh, man. Sorry that the music stopped. I had gotten that diarrhea virus thing, and literally I started the stream. I was like, oop, I gotta go to the bathroom. And I get back and the song is paused. I'm like, what the hell? But I hope you're all doing good. And let's see. Who we got in the... What's up, Cass? What's up, T-Bex? Scarborough. So, a lot's been kind of happening in the paranormal community. Now, you know, certain people might say, you know, a few channels have covered it. There's no point in everybody covering it. To that I say fuck off. Just because I said. We do have a show. We have Stevie, who was on Jason Hawes' channel, and they talked about the Warrens, and of course it brought up controversy. We have Jay CARTS, who had that copyright strike from Dolly that fell off. You know, so there's been some stuff happening, you know, and when Jason Hawes' video first came out, I was like, all right, I'm gonna wait to cover it, because I was waiting for maybe certain people to respond, and they have not. So because of that, you know, we're just gonna run with what we got. So really quick, guys, really quick, gotta be the I am going to be the rolling billboard, but really quick, you'll see this little character here up above the chat, the cat with the horns. That is Scratch. Now, how did Scratch come to be? Well, I was in voice chat, and somebody drew a picture of a cat. And I was looking at that picture and I'm like, dude, I should totally make a a cat character. So that's what I made. That's when I made Scratch. And Scratch is going to be here whenever someone is being a little bitch in my chat. Scratch might come out and say,
"Looks like I'm not the only pussycat in here."
so that's Scratch. And now it's time to be the rolling billboard. So if you look at the link pinned in the chat, it's to my merch store, dustparanormal.com. And you can see that Scratch has been added. You can get Scratch as a sticker. Boo has been added as a sticker. I clicked the link on Dust Paranormal and all hell broke loose. We have this. We have hate merch. This is a sticker. Dramatic, uncouth, slanderous, trite channel. I wonder who said that. Can you guys tell me who said that? Somebody said that about me. I can't remember. But that's a sticker you can get. And then we have this sticker. Paranormal rule number 1. If it doesn't make sense, it's probably demons. Something funny, We have Trust Me Bro University, Department of Paranormal Studies. Of course, we have the updated Dust Devil Crew sticker right here. And, you don't just get, there's more than stickers. You could also get those as tumblers. This one. Paranormal evidence, research, documentation, verification, trust me, bro. And then, of course, we have the Scratch tumbler. Meow, bitch. And, of course, my regular tumblers are here. Hoodies, we got pretty much the designs you saw as the stickers and tumblers. You can get them in hoodies. You can get them in shirts. All at dustparanormal.com. Get the Dust Devil Crew shirt. I have quite a few people that like this one. This shirt. I had people asking me for this one. So there we go. And of course this extra tab is Dust Special Collection. Well, Dust Special Collection means Dust Hate merch. So this is all specifically pretty much hate merch. So if you specifically want my hate merch, then just click the Dust Special Collection tab and pick something out if you want. Now, really quick, another YouTuber that I know, Big Rudy, dropped his merch store as well. And I'm going to put his merch store in the chat. This is Big Rudy, and he covers like horror stuff and wrestling on his channel. But that's his character there. He's got some cool stuff. So if you want to check out Rudy's store, I do like that tumbler. It's pretty cool. This looks pretty sick too. But yeah, I want to support Rudy. He's got stuff, shirts, coffee mugs. So click the link to that's pinned either for my merch store or go check out Rudy's. See, I gotta check my docket real quick. Gotta check the docket because we gotta get going. Oh yeah, I have to do this. I always do this when people buy my merch. So someone bought my sticker warning, may randomly discuss ghosts and accidentally summon internet drama. They stuck it on, looks like a Tumblr. There it is before they put it on the Tumblr. Someone bought the trash tuber Tumblr and the shirt. So shout out to everybody who bought the merch. All right, so here we go. The first thing on the docket is the CARTS strike. So, of course, CARTS got a copyright strike from Kenton Paranormal, so pretty much Dolly. And I guess that strike fell off. So we're going to react to this video quick.
Maniacs, welcome back to the channel. Your local bedhead here. So I wanted to go ahead and talk about
Oh, you're subscribed to Does Paranormal. Yo, what's up?
something really quick. I know the lack of content has
You're subscribed to Tyrone Magnus? So am I. He's pretty cool. Sorry.
been very pretty common recently, and I apologize about that. I've been really trying to get more stuff done with the podcast channel and my gaming channel, going live over there quite a bit, playing some Dead by Daylight. You know, don't miss that stuff, guys. We have a lot of fun. I play with Heart Mode Horror, Amber Dust, little Scared Little Raven. I mean, I'm even going to be playing with Andrew Stonerock and Lord Beagle more over on the gaming channel, CARTS. So please go check that out, especially if you like seeing us game together. We've been just gaming. I know it's not for everybody, and I get that, but go support that stuff, because I feel like I've been really kind of lacking on actually doing more over there, and I really want to try to fix that. So I'm trying to go live over there more often. But I will be getting back to the true crime content, the paranormal content, and all that stuff at some point here soon in the future. I had to take a little bit of a break. Was just kind of more focused on things that you could call drama, and it just started taking a toll on me. I was like, you know, I got to step back and have more fun and not just be so focused on the negatives. I want to start focusing on some positive things too, and we have a blast. So you know what? I don't regret any of that stuff. However, I want to go ahead and talk about something that happened recently, which you guys know was my first ever copyright strike, and I had been fighting to get that thing taken down. And as of, I think today, maybe it's been a couple days now, who knows, I went down and I looked, and I'm like, oh, where's that notification, or where's that alert that I was copyright striked? It's gone. It was given to me by Kenton Paranormal here on YouTube. The channel is run by a supposed psychic medium, Dolly. She makes videos communicating with the dead, or claims she's talking to the dead using phone apps and shit, and things that I obviously don't buy. Well, I reacted to a Side-Eye Guy video where he decided to go over this said person, and I got a copyright strike for that. It wasn't even her video. It was Seg's video, and she still found a way to copyright strike me for that. Again, first time ever this has ever happened to me. And I talk about a lot of shit on my channel, and this was the one that got me a copyright strike. She's obviously somebody who wants to silence most of her critics, because obviously it's not good for her business if these people are out there talking and exposing her. I think it says more that she actually will use tactics like this to silence people, even people who are like genuinely big on YouTube and could even put in the effort to try to come after debunkers. Still don't do it, because most of the time they understand that people are just not going to agree with everything they do. This person just genuinely does not like it when you talk about her in what she views as a negative light. And it's very easy to view her in a negative light because of what she does and how she profits. She says that she doesn't make any money doing what she does, but yet she does have a membership program. So you are paying monthly for her content to continuously come out. So she is making profit. Maybe not in the way that you're thinking, but she is making profit from doing it. So that made no sense when she said that. She even said that she didn't strike my channel, that it was YouTube who striked my channel. YouTube.
Yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit. You cannot tell YouTubers who know better. Like, YouTube doesn't just strike a fucking channel just because.
YouTube doesn't just randomly strike channels and then just decides, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and remove that strike. No, it has to be done by the actual creator that wanted to strike that channel. It has to be filled out by that creator, and it was filled out by that creator. It even says who gave me the strike, and she still tried to lie about that. Having said all that, though, I'm glad that the strike was removed because I felt like it was just unjustified. Again, it wasn't even her video. It was Seg's video I reacted to. And she striked my channel. And remember, that's pretty serious because if you get 3 strikes, you're out of the game. And not only your main channel, but every channel you're pretty much associated with will also be removed. You know, I might get lucky and have blame the algorithm still, but for my main channel and my gaming channel, oh yeah, they're gone. So it's a pretty,
listen, that's something that, I mean, that happened to me. I got a copyright strike for something that was bullshit. And, you know, Beardo was getting false strikes. It's what happens to debunkers, and it's what happens to people that cover like drama, and it's unfortunately it's a part of the game, and it doesn't make it okay, and it doesn't make it right. But it's just it can be scary, especially if it's like if this is your livelihood, which it's not mine. However, you know, this is a creative outlet for me, and so to not have that, like, that would suck. And but you know, it's something that we have to deal with, and sometimes that dictates what certain people do on their channels, and sometimes it doesn't.
A lot, because that's their intentions, is to have you removed from YouTube for speaking out. And they're going to use the copyright system to drill fear into people's minds. This isn't good, by the way. If you're somebody who can't stand debunkers, you might still want to take a step back and realize what that means. That means if you even disagree with anybody, they are going to control that. Let's say you're watching a video one day and you're like, you know, I don't really think that's how that works, and you say something. Well, to strike someone and have them completely removed, let's say that was happening to you. Let's say they actually decided to try to shut you up. So it's not good for anybody when a channel just gets striked for just talking and having an opinion about something. It's something that everybody should be taking very seriously. And I hope more people start actually, you know, pulling their heads out of their asses and seeing it for what it is. It's controlling a narrative by shutting people up. It's not good. People need to have the ability to open up and speak about their opinions. If they can't do that, then what the fuck's the point of even having an opinion? If you're only allowed to say certain things, if you say anything else, fuck you, you're gone. No way. No way. Never been a fan of that mindset. You know, people do not like me, and I'm very much aware people do not like me. They're allowed to share their opinions and their thoughts, absolutely. I will never try to control that. Go ahead and say whatever you want. It's okay. Just giving everybody a heads up. If you have something negative you want to say about me, you can go ahead and say it. It's fine. I'm not going to control what you say. But this is what this is just controlling a narrative. And it's not okay. Thank you, YouTube, for removing the strike. I really appreciate it. Let's just continue on. Let's just continue on this path.
So, yeah. CARTS strike has gone away. So, we want to congratulate CARTS for winning that fight. Good job, man. Good job. All right. So we had a couple more things, and then we're gonna get into, why do I have that there? Let me move some things around. Yeah. All right. So we do have, really quick, one of my mods, and she makes like AI music, and I know not a lot of people like AI music. However, I do, obviously. Zombie did drop some merch. There's a link to Zombie's merch store. She's got some cool stuff. Just check it out. It's pretty sick. I like her designs. We do have Zombie Jays and another mod of mine, T-Bex. Boom, boom. Which is in here. All products. She's got some pretty cool stuff. Go check it out. I try to promote my friends when I can. And yeah. Some pretty cool stuff. I don't have handbags or nothing. I should probably get on that. All right. Now we're going to get into the Warren stuff. Go check out Zombie's merch store. The link is in the chat. T-Bex's merch store link is in the chat. Now, of course, CARTS is on it. He be banging out videos, guys. He's been dropping bangers. And like, here I am, like, feeling like shit, sick as hell. I'm like, alright. Got my stream planned for Thursday. Normally I would have been on this shit like the next day, but so we have this video. So the Warrens are now off limits. So obviously, if you're living under a rock, maybe you don't know, Jason Hawes interviewed Stevie from Truth or Demons podcast, and of course Stevie was showing news articles and stuff disproving some of the stuff that the Warrens have done, and what she always does on her channel. And you know, people are taking it as like an attack, like, oh, you can't talk about the Warrens because they're not here. Well, let's watch this, and we're gonna discuss that whole thing. The, oh, you can't speak ill of the dead. Let's watch this, and then we're gonna talk about that.
Maniacs, welcome back to the channel. Your local bedhead here. So we are going to be discussing the Warrens in this video, and the whole idea and concept that we are no longer allowed to criticize things they have said and done in the past simply because they're no longer with us. May they rest in peace. Okay? You're right. They're no longer with us. But they are also people who put themselves out in the public intentionally for profit. Okay? They chose to live the life they lived. To not expect ridicule would be insane. They knew ridicule was going to happen. Even they were aware of it. Okay? And now that we have the internet, a very resourceable fucking outlet, I mean, fuck, the internet can literally help you almost with anything. Now we're no longer allowed to touch them. Even after the Conjuring movies pushed them to a broader audience, a bigger, widespread audience, we're no longer allowed to touch the real Warrens because the movies painted them out like saints. Fuck that.
I agree. Fuck that shit. I watched the first Conjuring movie and that was it.
Fuck that. Everybody, even myself, are open to the public for criticism. You are going to criticize me for what I am going to say in this video. That is fine. I don't care. If I were to pass away tomorrow and this video is still up, people would still criticize me no matter what. If you
And Beardo did a live stream talking about this, and I'm not including that in this stream, but while Beardo was talking about the exact same thing, I was like, yo, if people don't talk shit about me when I'm gone, then I didn't do my fucking job. You know?
Really want to start shit with a channel that's using the dead for profit, maybe you should go after some of these ITC channels that are actually claiming they're speaking to celebrities and then using these devices that really don't even work. Though I'm sure a lot of people probably within that group probably believe that shit does work, right? So let's talk about this idea that they're off the plate. We can't talk about the Warrens because they're no longer here with us. When the information, the research, the proof is provided to us by a very resourceful person, Stevie from Truth or Demons podcast, all here claiming and showing us exactly why they were full of it, and they took advantage of people, and they made up these stories, and they did all this stuff, and we're no longer allowed to do that because it's just simply disrespectful. I think it's disrespectful to lie to people. I think it's disrespectful to take advantage of people. I think it's disrespectful to go into people's houses claiming that there's a demon when clearly they're dealing with some psychological problems.
Now, of course, Jason Hawes says the same thing, and we are going to watch that interview. It's just J CARTS just kind of beat me to the punch like a son of a bitch. And he makes a lot of good points, you know.
And then profiting off of it. I find that shit to be disrespectful. I find it disrespectful when a name is brought up by doing research and then you demonize that person even.
Oh, we got T-Bex who gave 500 joules. Thank you so very much.
Knowing they're long gone. Because of what Lorraine Warren pushed, even though she did not find the name specifically, it was actually Carolyn Perrin who found the name Bathsheba. Lorraine demonized it, and she certainly wasn't at the movie premiere saying that, oh, we really probably shouldn't be calling, the demon Bathsheba because that really wasn't a witch. No, she said that she was a witch who killed an infant. Want to talk about disrespecting the dead when Bathsheba Sherman was nothing more than just a normal housewife who lived around that area, who passed away very peacefully and not by hanging herself in a barn. Yeah, that's the real story. A lot of the shit that the Warrens claimed were never documented, which at some point you got to really ask yourself that question. Well, if it's not documented, did it really even happen? No, it didn't. The only thing that was actually documented that really did happen was the fire doll. But if you want to know more about that, go to Stevie's channel and look up her breakdown. Or as a matter of fact, I'll leave a link in the description for the breakdown of that doll. And then you will see exactly why that is also bullshit. All fabricated stories to make a quick buck. Because it was easy to do so back then. If that's the case, nobody should have a problem with me taking my entire clown collection right here and trying to roll with it, saying that it's all haunted.
I mean, and people do that shit all the time. And I remember, and I wish I would have gotten the link, on my main channel, I interview Eric Vitale, who used to work for Nesper and has said they literally bought stuff at estate sales and it all looked like Halloween decorations. That's what Eric Vitale said.
Well, if the Warrens can do it, I should be able to do it. It makes no sense why they can do it, but I can't grift off people. I'm sure you would look at me and say, Jordan, that's fucked up. Why would you do something like that? I don't know. The Warrens could do it. And everybody seems to be okay with lies. So let me. I got that clown collection. I got these clowns over here. I got my cookie jar. I got this big guy over here. I could open up a museum and just tell you it's all true. But the truth doesn't matter to some people. So we're just gonna let that slide. We're gonna let the truth slide. I buy them because I love them. I love collecting creepy clowns. But
I fucking hate clowns. Like, I've always been afraid of clowns since I was a kid. So J CARTS, you're weird. It's all good though.
I could, since the truth doesn't matter to people, and documents and proof don't matter to people. Even some of their own family outright said that, yeah, that's not true. Yeah, that's fake. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the original Annabelle doll is gone, and this is a new one that they brought in.
Literally, yes, John Zappis, in that interview that we have all played to death, John Zappis said that Ed got stuff from thrift and antique shops. Now that's coming from John Zappis. Is that true? I don't know. He is saying it.
Because the old one dry rotted. got old, as dolls do, makes sense, right? They were horrible liars. At least in today's perspective, we can now view them as that because, well, we can now research people, right? I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of comments going after Stevie and Jason saying this was a hit piece, this was done in a horrible intent, and this was this. They should be ashamed of themselves. And why should they be ashamed of themselves for providing evidence? Why is that now looked at as shameful? I feel like we need to get a grip here and really just accept it for what it is. The evidence has been provided. The proof has been provided. Ironically, from the Warrens themselves, saying what they've said in articles and newspaper clippings. Yeah, the research was done by somebody else, but they said the shit. Not Stevie, not Jason, not me, not anybody else. These are things we're using against them. But if they were here, you know what they would probably do? They'd probably do something like that interview that Ed Warren did. You don't know what you're talking about. You're not going to sit here and tell... That is how Ed Warren handled his interviews and being questioned. Was pointing a finger at that person's face and saying, no, I don't think you know what you're talking about. That's how he did it, guys. That's just how he did it.
Back to the video, Joe does take the first jab at Ed, and then it really descends into proper Jerry Springer meltdown.
Oh,
I was on the show with this man once before.
oh, you guys can't see what the fuck I'm talking about.
Wait a minute. My turn.
You made a statement.
I've heard that you were a
You have a
loudmouth who
statement.
shouted people down. Just give me my chance to talk.
Sorry, guys, I'm off today.
Give you a
You
chance
did that to me last show we
say
were
a bunch
on.
of lies.
Joe,
We
I'll
have
give
the
you your
evidence, we have the
chance.
proof.
You're a loudmouth, Warren, and
No,
we
you're
all
a
know,
loudmouth.
it. But if you'll just let me finish,
When you're concerned, I'm a loudmouth.
Go ahead, Joe.
try to
haven't
show
even heard
a
nothing.
little
Joe,
class.
I
You're on
don't have a
national
lot of
TV.
time.
No, I'm not going to
Just-
give class to somebody who's
Ed,
sitting here.
let
You'll
Joe,
have nothing but lying.
Ed, let Joe just explain.
Be careful who you
point
call
by
a
point.
liar.
Well, what would
Go
you do
ahead.
about it?
Yes, one thing that the houses that sincere people report that they think are haunted usually follow certain patterns. This is a hodgepodge of the sort of ghost tale, poltergeist, part demon, part
you
this,
there?
part that.
Were you there?
We saw a similar pattern with the Amityville Horror, a case that the Warrens thought was genuine.
We didn't
It
think
turned
we knew.
out to be a blatant
Nobody
hoax
ever proved that.
concocted over
Nobody
several
ever
bottles
proved
of wine.
Can
The
you
evidence,
prove it?
yes, I
No,
can
you
prove
can't.
it. Yes,
You
I
cannot
can.
prove
It's
it.
been proven.
No, it has never
The
been
evidence
proven.
is very clear in the case of the Amityville Horror.
No,
the whole
no way.
packaging of this story. The book says it's for Halloween release. The book was written by a professional fiction writer who writes horror stories.
Joe,
This
does the
whole
church-
packaging is a
does the-
crock.
So would it make any difference if they were here? I don't know, but probably not. Because the best thing to do if you are being called out for lying is to just act like you don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Or that they're in the wrong completely, which is something that he very much triumphed at. Was that he just would look at somebody who was pointing out the logic and being like, da, da, da. That's Ed Warren arguing. Not trying to be disrespectful, I'm just saying. That is what we've seen in interviews and all of that stuff. I'm not a fan of, trust me, bro, I know what I'm doing. Or just, trust me, this is how it is. I'm not a fan of that because there's no evidence to back it up. There's no proof to back it up. And it's already been shown that if they do that, there's no documentation of anything they're saying. The one thing that I think that was documented that was for sure something that happened are like the Devil Made Me Do It case where they got involved, trying to get this guy off trial or whatever. And then there was that Annabelle story with the nurses. That was documented. But the motorcycle accident never happened. So anything that actually would make the doll look like it had caused something throughout, its demonic presence or spiritually, it never happened.
Mm-hmm.
It was never documented. And that's a crazy thing to say that it's not documented because at the time that would have been absolutely documented, right? You best believe if a story about these nurses saying this doll is haunted gets put in the newspaper, I guarantee you a story about how this doll committed a crime or unaliving someone on a motorcycle would absolutely be in a newspaper. No doubt about it. And that happened years after. So, I think anybody and everybody should be able to pull that away and be like, yeah, that just does not make any sense. I would assume so. But I'm not here to deter anybody's opinions. This is just my opinion. I'm very passionate about this. I feel like, no, it does not make it okay to not criticize somebody for what they've said and done in life just because they're no longer with us. It happens all the time. The Warrens are not the only ones. Simply put, the movies were not legit. I'm going to put the link to Jason's video in the description. I think everybody should go and watch it. If you don't want to watch it, I'm not going to sit here and push it on you. It's okay. It is what it is. If you don't want to watch it, you're not interested, whatever. But I do believe Stevie deserves so much credit for that outright amazing research. Let me know what you think in the comments section. I'll see you all in the next one. Do take care.
So here's the question for you guys. Let's see, what's this? The Enfield haunting in the UK said back in the 80s, the Warrens turned up uninvited and tried to change a haunting to a demon attack for a UK book opportunity. That's freaking crazy. So my question is this. Since this interview came out, people are saying, oh, you can't speak ill of the dead. The Warrens, they can't freaking defend themselves. Put a 1 in the chat if you think it's warranted. That's a warranted argument that, oh, they're not here, they can't defend themselves. Put a 2 in the chat if you do not agree with that. I want to gauge what you guys think real quick. 1 if you think it's warranted and you shouldn't criticize their work because they're gone. 2 if you think that's a bunch of bullshit. So we have some 2s. Alrighty. I mean, I think that it doesn't matter if someone is alive or not. You know, I was thinking about a lot of this before this interview even dropped. And, you know, I was like, huh, you know, all this stuff that's happening, because I've known Stevie for a while and I've watched her channel. And so a lot of the stuff that Stevie has talked about on Jason Hawes's channel, like I already knew about. I covered it here on this, well, on my main channel. And I was like, you know, eventually the truth comes out. Eventually the people that try to silence you, eventually they can't hold back criticism. Eventually time will just eventually in the future, which I'm thinking is not going to be too far off from now, where history is just going to look what the Warrens did. They're going to see the research, the information that Stevie found is there. So whether it's Stevie's research or someone else does the research, the facts, you know, some things aren't lining up, and so they're going to come to the same conclusions in the future that Stevie and Jason Hawes and what a lot of you have come to the conclusion of in this, you know, watching this interview. People need to stop treating them like saints. They're quite the opposite. And then, of course, CARTS today. And there was an article about debunking, you know, about the debunking community. And one of my mods writes articles, and I believe she was working on an article. Hopefully she puts that out. And I'm only mentioning it because I'm gonna throw pressure on friends like, yo, you know, be creative, do your thing. But CARTS did this video, and its article was made about debunking Jason Hawes and Truth or Demons. We're gonna watch this, and then there's some screenshots we're gonna show, and then we're gonna watch the interview.
Maniacs, welcome back to the channel. Your local bedhead here. So we are going to be diving into an article that was sent to me about Jason Hawes' live stream. Someone had wrote an article about it, and I was like, oh, okay, well, we're going to have to check that out and read it and see what they have to say about this. It is called Paranormalists Embracing the Debunking, Particularly About the Warrens. I'm assuming she's meaning Jason Hawes, which Jason Hawes has always been a debunker if you go back and watch Ghost Hunters, he debunks so much. Not every house or building that they went to was ever like 100% haunted. A lot of the time, actually, they would say there's a logical explanation. So, like, he's always been a debunker. I don't really understand.
Jason Hawes is like one of the OG debunkers. You know, you go back and you watch some old episodes of Ghost Hunters, and you literally see them like debunking shit. Like, so.
But this is by a Sharon A. Hill. This was written on July 22nd, so literally yesterday, and published yesterday. So we're going to go ahead and take a look, and of course go support the original article. Showed a lot of love, a lot of support. You look at it, read it yourself, give your own interpretations or your own opinion, please. And let's go ahead and take a look at what Sharon has to say about the live stream that happened the other day. It's been a long time since I paid attention to ghost investigations. After my book was done and my doubtful news days were over, I felt like I had exhausted my interest in paranormal claims about ghosts. I did not keep up with what was going on with the infamous Ghost Hunters, TAPS. Today I came across this long video interview between Jason Hawes and Stevie Etay, a paranormal researcher and content creator, and was surprised at how things have changed in the last few years. The emphasis was now about legitimate research using newspapers, seeking out original sources, and confirming facts. Finding the true story, namely about Ed and Lorraine Warren, their legacy and influence. I ate this right up and was pleased at what I saw. Banger! Fucking banger. Now, again, my opinion still stands. Jason has always been a debunker, so that's really nothing new. But I can understand that today in the paranormal community, there's just a lot of overshadowed. A lot of overshadowed greatness because everybody's just claiming everything's a ghost anymore. It gets tiring after a while. You're like, you know, if ghosts are so fucking common, why don't we see them? Why are only these creators going?
You don't listen. All right, Jay Karch, you don't see them because you don't have a haunted museum. You don't see them because you don't have a YouTube channel with millions of subscribers. You don't see them because you're not delusional.
Going out there and seeing them. So I get like, you know, there's a lot of things that are being overshadowed, but Jason is, in my opinion, has always been a debunker. No doubt. And Stevie, the fact that she is now at 5,000 plus subscribers, she was literally at 3,700 and something subscribers before that live stream happened, and now she's like that premiere. I mean, and
so listen, yeah, she only had like 3,000 subs. She went up by like 2,000 subs, and that, I think that's a wonderful thing, because, and I've said this before, and to all you other debunkers out there, some of you are going to take offense to it, and I really don't care. Out of all of you debunkers, Stevie is the best researcher. Out of all of you, Stevie is the best researcher, in my opinion. Okay. And she has been putting out these videos for a very long time. And she literally, like, dude, she's got so many haters and so many people. Oh, you're talking shit. You're speaking ill of the dead. You don't know what you're talking about. They refuse to watch her videos and just assume that she's just spreading hate on the Warrens. You know, maybe people should watch some videos and then form opinions. But it's literally good that she went on Jason Hawes's platform, because that gave Stevie a voice. And, you know, so a lot of people saw the, you know, some of the research that she's done. They were impressed with the research that she has done, and she has gained subscribers from it. You know, so all these people, you know, I mean, I just think she deserves this. Like, this is a win for her. She literally has people threatening her. She has people threatening to dox her. There's one person threatened to dox her and me. And it's like, it's just good to see Stevie get some recognition. And I'm happy for her, you know, like this is a win. Like it's a good week, you know. Yeah.
Now she's over 5,000. She deserves 10. She deserves really 20. I mean, her research is insanely incredible. And the fact that, yes, they are providing evidence, which is now being viewed as hateful by the biggest of Warren fans, which, look, if you're a fan of the Warrens, nobody's telling you can't be fans of the Warrens. But they're also trying to just say, you know, we're just trying to say, when we say this, at least look at the facts. At least just acknowledge that the stuff that we're finding and pointing out is not just being hateful and spiteful. It's actually just trying to prove that these two were not what they claimed. I don't think there's anything hateful and wrong with that. There's some people who do not like the idea that they're being put up on a pedestal, you know, after they're deceased. But when has that ever stopped anybody from ever talking or criticizing people who are long gone? Like,
okay, so Jason Hawes is a paranormal investigator, correct? Yeah, he's a paranormal investigator. All right. So just because he's a paranormal investigator does not mean he is going to believe or agree with all the other paranormal investigators. Okay. He can look at other investigative teams and go, no, I don't believe that. No, I think that's fake. You know, because he's not a fucking fan. He's not like one of these fans that watch these paranormal shows. All right. Paranormal investigators can look at each other's work and decide if they agree with them or not. Paranormal investigators can look at past paranormal investigators before them, that came before them, that may not be around anymore, and they can call bullshit if they so choose. Because they're investigators and they're supposed to research and debunk. Okay, being a paranormal investigator does not fucking mean, oh, let's just go to a haunted location. Oh, what does the EMF meter, am I getting EMF? Oh, am I catching EVPs? Is the spirit box catching something? Like, that's not fucking paranormal investigating. It's a lot more involved than that. I was a paranormal investigator for many, many years. Okay, before you even go and fucking investigate a place, you need to research the goddamn place. All right. That way, if you do catch something, it might back up. Like if you catch evidence, it might back up some of the research that you found. Okay, or maybe you'll research and find that none of this shit happened according to the fucking legend. All right, that's what a paranormal investigator does. You know, I retired from paranormal investigating. I retired from YouTube for a very long time, and when I come back and I see all these stupid fucks on the internet thinking that they're investigators just because they take a fucking ghost meter and go to a haunted location and catch something, they call that evidence, and ooh, they're investigators, they know what they're doing. No, you don't know shit. Girly Twirly sent gold coins for 10 jewels. Man, I don't know anything about these coins and jewels and stuff, but we can learn from the mistakes made. At least people shouldn't have to suffer. A lot of people are suffering because the real investigators are going out and they're researching, and then, you know, people are saying, oh, you're slandering, you're throwing mud at someone's name, you're just trying to spread hate. No, they're doing research, you fucks. Like, that's what it is. I'm sorry, but like, if I would have ran into people saying that back in the day when I was investigating, like, I would be saying the same thing. You're all a bunch of stupid fucks. Go and do your fucking research before you investigate somewhere.
Look, if they did stupid shit, or if they did things in life that are not genuinely good, I don't think there's anything wrong with pointing it out. And now that the internet exists, we are able to actually do the research and look at this stuff and call it out for what it is. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, you know? I think people just don't want people to raise their expectations when talking about the Warrens, because they're nothing like the movies. In the interview linked below, Hawes invites Etay to expand on her findings about the haunted objects in museum, including the most famous object, Annabelle the doll. Etay states that she has a long list of examples beyond the usual ones where the Warrens outright manufactured their stories. She noted several key incidents whose stories changed over time. The Warrens became internationally popular after their involvement with the Amityville story. But before that, Ed had paid people to give their ghost stories that he used, often excluding important details or other investigations. Lorraine was absent in the stories until suddenly she wasn't. She suddenly was noted as a medium. The Warrens did not foresee the internet, which is a big thing. They did not foresee the internet. Nobody could have predicted the internet would become as popular and as used as it is today. And man, does it help. Does it help? Warrens did not foresee, and if they could not foresee the internet, then how much of a psychic was she? Now, obviously, you're going to say there are different types of psychics. I understand. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but she clearly could not see a whole lot of stuff that was obviously going to happen. I mean, the movies, for God's sakes, painted her out like she helped solve a police investigation, a missing person case, right? Like, that's what they did in the movie, which is bullshit. That never happened, because if it did happen, then we'd be having these kind of, psychic mediums doing this all the time. But yeah, no. The Warrens did not foresee the internet and the ability to verify historical records. The fact that paranormal investigators can now check the old records means we know the stories were inconsistent and probably fictionalized. We can see that the Annabelle story was made up, taken from the Living Doll episode 126 of The Twilight Zone, which this has been discussed quite a bit, that there are too many similarities between the supposed true story of Annabelle and the Twilight Zone episode, which I have yet to watch. I might actually do a reaction to that episode at some point. It was interesting that Hawes remarks how the truth gets lost in the crazy stories. It's always the latter that carries on. Even when the false and exaggerated claims get exposed, people ignore it and still carry forward with myth. The exact same scenario happens with cryptids and UFO narratives. These are entertaining stories that people prefer to believe, which is unfortunately true. I can't blame people, because it is fun to actually put that, have that leap of faith that something like that could be out there. Even though I do believe in like UFOs, and I have a fun time believing in cryptids and stuff, I also like to point out the facts. And the facts do state that these stories don't add up. And at some point, you just gotta rip the Band-Aid off and say, you know what? Yeah, you're right. They don't add up. And that makes it look like a lie, because it does. And I don't think that's hateful to say that. It's so crazy what's become hateful anymore. It's so crazy that
people say I'm very hateful and I'm a uncouth, trite fucking channel. Okay.
You have to say is just, yeah, I mean, the facts show that the Warrens were liars. Well, why do you have to say it? Like, why do you have to say that? They're long gone. Why are you being so hateful? It's like, it's not trying to be hateful. It's just pointing out the fucking obvious. It's not being hateful. The facts don't lie. No, your feelings can be hurt, but the facts don't lie, and their stories don't add up. Now, this version of Hawes feels a bit icky to me, since the Ghost Hunters TV show did so much to promote exaggerated paranormal claims. I'm gonna have to go back to Ghost Hunters, because like Zach Bagans, I can understand where you're coming from, but Jason Hawes, not really. Not really. I kind of disagree with you on that, and it's not because me and Jason do talk now. I don't remember ever seeing that stuff, but I will go back to and watch Ghost Hunters at some point. That's been on several times downstairs now. Maybe I'll sit down and actually watch a couple of their bigger episodes and see where you're trying to come from, because I don't see that. And look, even
I saw like the earlier seasons of Ghost Hunters, but when Jason Hawes first started, like when Ghost Hunters first started airing, That's right when I was when I started investigating. So I only saw like a few episodes. Like I only saw like maybe season 1 or maybe season 2 of Ghost Hunters, and I saw a little bit of Paranormal State, but I only saw Paranormal State because I'm friends with some of the cast, which not Ryan Buell, by the way. But I was busy doing my own stuff, you know. Yeah, that's true. All right.
If that was the case, to have a change of heart and to go with the, you know, the fucking common sense and to go with the proof and the evidence and yada yada yada, I don't think that's a bad thing either. You know, I don't see where you're coming from with Jason. I could understand with Zach Baggins because he does over exaggerate everything, but I've never seen really Jason over exaggerate much, like at all, honestly. So I'll have to go back and do my research. But having said that, let's go ahead and continue. I haven't kept up with the what Jason has been doing, but he's obviously changed. He has other content that shines a light on how what was broadcast wasn't simply under their control. Jason and Stevie struggle with the fact that the Warrens brought attention to the paranormal, even though they obviously falsified so much. At 1-11, Jason brings up CSI investigator Kenny Biddle. He was struck by Kenny's remarks to him about the Warrens' positive efforts to bring attention to paranormal claims at what cost? Was Kenny's retort to Jason. You will not get me to volunteer anything positive about the Warrens. They were selfish, money-grubbing liars, or in Lorraine's case, maybe a weak pawn used by a disgraceful and mean man, which rumor has it, or speculations have it, that Ed definitely was the one at the helm of all of this.
I heard that same thing. Now, Amy Bruni always did the flashlight trick. I may have to go early. It's all good. Melting out here in California. Yeah, it's about to heat up out here.
When pulling these kind of strings. Hawes is trying to be generous and not burn bridges, but it's clearly not possible to defend them.
No, listen, I'm gonna correct that article, and I'm gonna correct CARTS. Jason isn't not trying to burn bridges. He's gonna say what he's gonna say, and if you don't like it, that's your problem. That sounds like a you problem, you know. I'm the same way. Like he's not purposely trying to attack anyone. He's just giving his opinion. If you don't like it, you know, pretty much fuck off. You know, that's pretty much how Jason is with that. That's pretty much how I am with my opinion. Like he's not trying to not burn bridges. Like it just is what it is. Some people are gonna like him, some people aren't. You know.
Jason notes they all knew about Ed Warren's mistress, Judy, who was underage when she and Ed first became involved, but no one said anything. It seems clear, as things often go, that celebrities who are aiding you in some capacity, aiding you in some capacity are given a pass. Things get overlooked or ignored, but now the tone has shifted. That is remarkable. Hawes and others are now showing the debunkers some respect. In a previous video, Jason noted he loves the debunking community because they are after the truth, and that is what we all should.
Jason Hawes loves the debunking community because Jason Hawes is a debunker. He's one of the OG debunkers.
Ultimately aim for. I guess it's never too late to change the road you're on. This was a lot to unpack, but it's an interesting shift. To remain relevant in a fringe field, you have got to change with the times. When some ugliness is revealed, you can only deny it for so long. Hawes and others have chosen to make space for the skeptical view and embrace some of those methods. Hawes seems to be taking the many little steps towards a more balanced and reasonable view. I hope that his fans and followers move down this path with him. Etay is doing sound and important objective research, which is laudable. No matter if we may disagree on other aspects, critical researchers always tried to do this, but we were vilified for it then. Repackaged now, it seems to be easier to swallow in other examples from this week. A TikToker I used to dislike several years ago has since renounced his belief in the lies promoted by grifting ghoul David Paulides. I don't know if I pronounced that name right. When I watched a recent presentation, The Lore Lodge, I was surprised to see my image and name appear as one of his sources. The message of critical thinking can get through. It may take a while. It may be not the degree we wish, but sound methods stand the test of time for those willing to notice. It's good news. I think I still disagree with her views on Jason. Jason, to me, has always been the guy to throw reason into the mix when it came to like taps. He's always been the guy that I would see as being legitimate as possible. It's one of the reasons I've always liked Jason. I've gotten shit for liking Jason too. Look, I like Zach Baggins for entertainment purposes.
You like Zach? Man, you're making it hard for me to like you sometimes. Me and Zach hate each other. But whatever.
I think he's funny. I've laughed hysterically at some of the shit he does. Doesn't mean I agree with him. No, I don't. I think he lies. I think he's obviously over exaggerating shit 100%. But Jason's never been that way to me. Jason's always been the guy to throw reason and logic in there. Maybe she's talking about the whole toe tapping, joint popping method that happened a couple years back with, Satori and Cody, the Conjuring series that happened with Sam and Colby. I get it. I do. I still stand by my opinion on that. I do believe it was faked. But I've said it many times. I'm not going to sit here and expect Jason to go after his daughter, right? I'm not even trying to put like this words into Sharon's mouth. I mean, this might not be the reason why she's saying this. Maybe there is like videos that, she truly believes that Jason could have done more logically. I don't know. But when it comes to that, I will never sit here and expect Jason to go after his daughter when the internet already pretty much did. I know there are people out there who just can't stand him. That's your prerogative. That's up to you. I understand there's people who don't like me. I understand there's people who don't like anybody in this field, right? Stevie has her fair share of haters out there, and all she's doing is providing evidence. That's all she's doing is providing evidence. And she's doing a damn good job at it. This is a pretty damn good article. Besides the view of Jason, which it's like, okay, if you have your, if that's your prerogative and you have your reasons, but I think this is a fucking banger article that pretty much states that, look, more people are looking at the logic, and more people are trying to push the logic, because it's important to acknowledge when something is outright a lie. It's important to acknowledge when something's just outright not adding up, and that's what this does. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Go support the original article, of course. And again, go support Stevie over at Truth or Demons podcast and Jason Hawes YouTube channels here on YouTube. I'll leave the links in the description. And until next time, do take care.
All right. So, I got to find something real quick. Oh, come on. Looking for something very specific real quick. Here it is. So I went and I looked at the comment section of Jason Hawes' video, and y'all are gonna see someone that maybe you know. We have Biff. We got Mr. Biff in the comments. Biff commented on Jason Hawes' video. They were real. They came to my restaurant and uncovered some crazy stuff live in your face. They put it in their museum under Prospect Restaurant. I was supposed to get a copy of the 15-minute interview with me and Lorraine and footage of the crazy stuff they literally went on. 24 Plank Road Prospect, Connecticut, approximately 1992. Well, Biff, I'm sorry to tell you this. A lot of people have said that you are not a real exorcist. So if people are saying that you're not a real exorcist and you're saying that Ed and Lorraine are real, they're not really going to believe what you say. I'm just putting that out there. You know what I mean? And we have more stuff. Biff. Got Biff. Okay, so Truth or Demons put this post out. Okay, this post from Chris McKennell is what I can only guess to be a response to my interview on Jason Hawes' channel last night, because I made the comment that in 1966, Ed and Lorraine were in the paper only selling their art, and then about 3 years later, in 1969, Ed Warren was interviewed in the paper about his interest in ghost hunting. I shared the article here as well for you for your viewing pleasure. If the Warrens weren't publicly ghost hunting until 1974, Chris, why does the paper highlight Ed's interest in physics, seances, and haunted houses in 1969? And then why was Lorraine added in later, again before 1974? And why do I have several more articles leading up to 1974 highlighting their ghost hunting? They sought out reporters to write about them. Also, if you want to talk about the history, talk about all of it. Don't leave out the name of such a famous haunting so no one can even look up the facts. Weak sauce. The haunting you're referring to in Bridgeport, Connecticut in 1974 could only be in the Lindley Saint haunting, which Ed and Lorraine Warren were legally served papers over to pay a long distance phone bill they racked up, calling press and media all over the country. Don't believe me? Refer to the book The World's Most Haunted House by William J. Hall. You'll also find in that book that the Gooden family kicked the Warrens out. They didn't want that attention. It wasn't their doing. They walked towards something already out of control. No, sir, that is false. Stop twisting stories to fit your own narrative. It's tiresome and easy to disprove. Also, there was nothing at all negative or trolling about the video I did with Jason. Grow up, Chris. So, that's the first one. And of course, and I believe this is Chris's post. I don't engage with negativity or online trolls. My peace matters more than that. This is Chris McKennell. People have been attacking my family for over 50 years. We are still here helping those in need. That is the true Warren legacy. If you need free and confidential help with something mystifying or terrifying, reach out to me or go to whatever that website. We cannot expect perfection from ourselves or anyone else. We can only hope our actions have brought more light into the world than darkness. From a lifetime spent with my grandparents, I know they did exactly that. Well, now, these are all articles that Stevie had found, because Stevie is going to do what Stevie does. So that's what all of these are. Hooked on spooks, artist points, yeah, or artist paints them. So these are literally the articles, and I'm sure Stevie shows them, you know, first. My grandparents worked hard quietly for about 25 years before anyone outside knew their names. Well, I'm not even going to read all this, but here, I'm going to zoom in. If someone wants to freeze my, stream, because I think that, in my opinion, I think this is a bunch of bullshit. This is just my opinion. You know, Chris, who originally was upset over the sale of the Warren home, and now he's okay with it. We don't know why. Now, obviously, we have Jason Hawes, who made this post. Literally, it was like the next day. If you watched last night, then you know it was never a personal attack or a smear campaign. That's not what I've ever been about. It was about asking if old past claims hold up against documented evidence. Yeah, there was an uncomfortable subject brought up near the end. It was very lightly touched on, and we didn't go into great detail on at this time. But if it hadn't been brought up, many would have thought we overlooked it and been upset. Some people seem perfectly comfortable with extraordinary claims, even when the evidence doesn't support it. And when someone researches and finds documentation that differs from the narrative, then the conversation suddenly becomes off limits. This field should always be about searching out the truth, not just taking somebody's word for it. Do you know what that means? It means, trust me, bro, is not evidence. All right? Of course, we got Beardo here. It's far more respectful than a lot I've seen. And trust me, I know I went scorched earth on them. I think it was an unnecessary video. Someone said, I think it was an unnecessary video, to be honest. I just think the timing is suspicious after a long legal battle in court. Was this a swipe at the other guys? I understand the frustration, but the high road is always better. So here's my question to you guys. Do you think, and I'm only asking this question because people are saying, well, you're in court with Elton and he has leased all the Warren's items, and now you're doing this interview with Stevie and coming out with all these articles. People are saying that he's doing this because of all of the court stuff, and that maybe Jason Hawes is too close to this. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with that. Put a 2 in the chat if you do not. Was Jason Hawes too close to this? I mean, it was mostly Stevie who was talking about all these claims and articles, you know. They currently run the house and museum, and this will definitely affect their employees and revenue. I'm just saying, was that the intent? And understand the frustration. I think that no matter what comes out, I think people are still going to go to the Warren home. I think people are still going to go to that museum, regardless of what kind of evidence comes out. That's my opinion. You realize a lot of what they were talking about has been out for a while, and people still go. It's not going to hurt Matt and Elton in the slightest. People are still going to want to see the house, and they're going to want to go down into the basement. This stuff has been public for years. I've been covering it this year. Warren's interest is at a high again, with Tony saying skeptics will burn in hell. New movie news, and the murder, Johnson being being invited to do guest talks at conventions. We are not defending Matt and Elton. I'm just asking, do y'all think, sometimes I got to play devil's advocate. I don't think Jason was too close. He's always been pretty clear about his views of the Warrens. That's true. This is true. If people want to go, they will go. End of story. That's also true. Of course, someone said, I loved it. Isn't it shooting yourself in the foot since you just bought the Conjuring house? Are you saying it's not true what happened there? Don't one of the kids from that house ask you to buy? I'm not criticizing, just asking. The fact that you bought the place, then discussing that the Ed and Lorraine might have been fraud seems contradictory. And of course, Jason Hawes responds, not at all. The activity in the Conjuring house is for everyone to figure out on their own, not for me to tell you what it is. And before the Warrens had anything to do with it, others were invited in the investigations there. Andrew even talks about how the Warrens movie blew everything way out of proportion. This is true. This is true. Oh, yeah. So I reached out to Jason Hawes. It's been a while since I talked to him. And I was like, yo, I like the video you did with Stevie. I'm just wondering what kind of backlash you got. Would you like to give a statement? This is a statement. This isn't the whole message, because Jason and I were talking about other stuff, and that's our business, no one else's. But this is the statement that Jason Hawes made for me to read to you guys. As for a statement, sure, this video wasn't created to tear anyone down. It was created because people have had legitimate questions for years, and those questions deserve to be examined. Add in more recent claims that have been surfaced, and I felt it was worth taking a careful look at the documentation, timelines, inconsistencies, so people could make up their own minds. I have only met Tony once or twice. I've never met Elton, or as far as I know, anyone in his camp. The video seemed well received by like 95% of people. This was the day after that video dropped, so that was the Jason Hawes statement. And don't forget to get your merch at dustparanormal.com. Let's see here. We're going to be watching the interview next. But I wanted to go through all this stuff first. I need to take these gloves off. We're going to show some memes, and then we're going to watch that interview. So it's break time because we've been going for about an hour and a half. Oh. There are no strings to hold me down. Oh, God. John Zappis, yes. All right. And you know, people been asking me, they're like, dude, so you talked to Jason Hawes, you talked to all these other people. Why don't you have these people on your channel? Dude, I'm not that. To me, that's clout chasing. Like, there might be a time where I might have someone on, but you know, for me, it's gotta make sense. And besides, I'm the trite, slanderous channel. Who wants to be on this channel? All right, so let's show a few memes, and then we're gonna get into the main interview. So here we have Jason Hawes and Beardo. Oh shit, we got who was Jason in the background? Oh, they are the best of friends. Oh, look at this. Wanted for speaking facts about the Warrens, Jason Hawes and Stevie. Known aliases, truth tellers, fact droppers, common sense crimes, exposing the truth, questioning the narrative, upsetting the paranormal industry, refusing to stay silent. Reward, the truth, can't handle it. Wanted for speaking the truth about the Warrens. Also, that would be Beardo. Known aliases, truth teller, fact speaker, reality checker, historical researcher, spiritual truth seeker. When the ghost realizes you're not here to communicate, you're here to roast. Spike an EMF or hurt feelings. Aw shit. Spirit Box says cope. You mad, bro? That one's not bad. We got a few of these. So the Dream Team expose and debunk the Warrens. We're not here to haunt. We're here to fact check. Let's start with the evidence or lack thereof. The magnifying glass and the prayer don't make proof. Inconclusive, that's the real haunting word here, and that's the Warren Files. Every demonic case they had always needs more money, more publicity. Coincidence? I think not. Don't forget the OG grift, the Annabelle doll, raggedy scam, teamwork, research, receipts, and a little sarcasm. That's how we do. Wait, so all my possessions were just for content? Yep, basically paranormal theater. The Warrens built a legacy. We build the truth. Expose. Truth don't need a museum. The Truth Squad versus the Warrens. All right, team, let's see what the Warrens don't want you to know. First up, Annabelle, Raggedy Ann doll, a good story, and a whole lot of marketing. Their case files don't add up. Missing info, change stories, and plenty of hype. A haunting or a business model. The Warrens turned fear into fame and fame into cash. Conjuring more like fiction disguised as fact. Trust me, bro. Warren claims evidence, verifiable proof, science, common sense. Yeah, we're gonna need better than that. Scary stories check. Marketing check. Facts check. Not so much. Bye-bye grift. Another myth straight into the dumpster. Don't be scared. Do your research. And we have one more. Truth Smackdown with Jason and Beardo debunking the paranormal. We don't believe in ghosts. We believe in common sense. Evidence, not excuses. The claim the spirit moved this chair or old floor plus squeaky wood equals not a ghost. The evidence, look, an EV picture, I don't know what that EVP says, blah blah blah. It's not a spirit. That's your HVAC, a squirrel, and probably the neighbor's blender. The orb of light, 100% proof. It's dust, bro. Welcome to reality. Yep, definitely haunted by poor life choices. Sorry, bro, wrong movie. This is real life. And I guess it screwed up and it put 2 Jasons here. Keep your evidence. We'll keep our common sense. Don't get spooked. Get smart. Stay resistant. Oh, there is one more. We'll do one more. Debunking on vacation. Even legends need a break. No spirit boxes, no drama, just sun, fun, and zero fucks. No spirit boxes, no EVP, no bullshit. Just cocktails and good vibes. You think the ghosts miss us? Nah, they're probably relieved. They finally got some quiet. Well, call it the common sense castle. Built on facts, not fairy tales, and lots of sunscreen. First day without looking up drama in weeks. It's amazing what happens when you don't care. 2 more sunsets and less sussets. And to every investigator who needs a vacation. Meanwhile, they haven't posted a video. Are they okay? Back in the vacation rental, movie or nap, both at the same time. Be back soon, refreshed, reloaded, and still not buying it. Stay resistant. All right, that's enough of those for now. I hope you guys enjoyed that little meme segment. All right. Give me 1 second. All right. So I'm going to set a goal for super chats just because YouTube pushes that. 5 super chats, $5 or higher. And I made some comic strips with the Dust Devil crew. If we hit that goal, then after we watch this interview, I'll show you some of those comic strips. All right. We're going to get into this interview now. I will be dropping the link later. We do got to move along because I'm not trying to be here all night.
Hey everybody, Jason Hawes here. So for decades, there's been few names that have been as closely tied to the paranormal as Ed and Lorraine Warren. And to some, they were pioneers who brought attention to cases that no one else would touch. But to others, they were storytellers whose accounts stretched far beyond what any other evidence could ever support. And somewhere in between, there also lies a far more complicated history than most people realize. Their investigations inspired books, documentaries, and one of the biggest horror franchises in history. But as the years have gone on, more questions have surfaced.
Hey, comic strips definitely after this interview. If we hit the goal, $5. Thank you for the super chat. Stevie, hey, yeah, we're getting into it.
Stories have changed over time, claims that just don't line up, witnesses who remember their events very differently, and that list goes on. And still, they've got supporters who've stood by them to the very end. So who were Ed and Lorraine Warren really? Were they groundbreaking paranormal investigators, skilled entertainers, maybe a little of both? So today we're going to look behind the whole Hollywood version and behind the internet rumors. We're going to examine the facts and the contradictions and, to be honest, the controversies that surround two of the most recognizable names in paranormal history. Because if we're ever going to understand the legacy that they left behind, we also have to be willing to ask those difficult questions. So joining me today is somebody who I've followed her work for a long time. You got to check out her videos. It's phenomenal. She really dives deep. She does excellent research on everything and backs it up with receipts. So I'd like to welcome a very good friend of mine, Stevie Etay. Hey, Stevie, how's it going?
Good. How are you? I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to have you here. I've been watching your videos, and I mean, your videos are amazing because you really dive deep. Like I wish I had the time to dive as deep as you do with this stuff. So just going to your page, the Truth and Demons podcast page, and checking it out. I mean, yeah, you just give so much information. It's great.
Thank you. I love the deep dives. Like, my job allows me to sit and listen to things all day while I work, and I just take in so much information, and then I just pick it apart and like find things. And I really love, my favorite part of research is the cross-referencing. So I listen to so much and I watch so much, and then I just cross-reference all of it to pick it apart. And I love that part.
Well, you do pick it apart. I will give you that. It's funny because there's times like I'll want to look up something, and I'll just watch one of your videos because most of the time the images are there, they're in it, or any documentation that you're able to find. I mean, you were even able to connect with the original reporter from back in 1970 that interviewed Ed and Lorraine Warren, which I say interviewed loosely because Ed and Lorraine Warren, they reached out to the reporter and had the reporter sent out. So it was kind of more of like telling the reporter.
I know, guys, we got a celebrity in my chat right now. We got Truth or Demons podcast, yo. She's on Jason. This has been long overdue, and I'm very happy for Stevie that she was on. And this video, guys, what's it at now? Views? It's at 54,000 views. It's doing good, Good for Jason, good for Stevie.
What they want to see show up in their article. Yeah. And but this whole thing, I wanted to talk to you about Ed and Lorraine Warren, because I see all these videos popping up, and you see these people who are attacking them, and you see these people who are defending them. And I knew Ed and Lorraine personally, and I've been good friends with John Zaffis, their nephew, for 30 plus years of my life. And I've seen their cases, and I've also worked on cases that they've worked on after them, been called in separately, and I've seen the chaos and just the stories build and blow out of proportion and become things that they never were. And I wanted to talk to you about that. Now, the main thing is I'm not here to tell people what to think. I don't want to tell them what to think. I'm big in putting the facts out there and letting people draw their own conclusions. And I like that you put the facts out there. So that's why I wanted to talk to you.
Yay, I love that. And I'm the same. I think a lot of the time with my show, people who come to it with people come to it with the idea that I'm just hating on the Warrens, and they don't watch the content and they think I'm just a hater. And
that's funny because they don't watch Stevie's video and they just call her a hater. And they're not watching her content. So
I don't believe, but that's not true. I believe in the paranormal wholeheartedly. That's why I do this. I want to find the truth versus just perpetuating the misinformations and the stuff that just makes money. So yeah, when I deep dive the Warrens, my goal is never to convince anyone. I do it for the people who are looking for the truth, and they find me and they get really excited, and that's why I do it. I love that part of it.
All right, so let's start off with, tell me about the history of the Warrens that you know, because I know it. Like I said, I know it very differently. I can't even say I know it differently. I just know it from a different point of view because, again, I've been in this field about 36 years, and I knew Ed was notorious for going out to flea markets and yard sales and trying to purchase things, and he used to say all the time,
we got a donation from T-Bex. Thank you for your donation. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. The volume is up all the way, so you might have to turn the volume up on your whatever device you're watching. Also, hi Dust. Sorry, brain is all over today. It's okay, Stevie. I need to message you sometime. It's been a while since we just talked. I know you're busy as hell, so like half the time, and it's the same with Florio. Like y'all are so busy, and we're all busy doing our own thing that, and I've been meaning to message Beardo for a while too. So it's all good. All right, let's get back to this.
I could write a book on this and things of that nature. And, I want to know your thoughts or what you know about the Warrens.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so when I started my podcast, I dove as deep as I thought I could, but turns out there's way more. So most people, when they think of the Warrens and how they started, they think of their New England Society for Psychic Research at NESPR in 1952 was when they said they founded it. And the story goes that Ed would find stories of hauntings in the newspaper, go to these homes and sit in their yards and paint or draw their home, and then show the painting or drawing to the homeowner and ask to speak about their ghosts. That is like the big lore surrounding how they started. And I discovered through, actually by accident, I started a little segment on my show called Tea Time, and I go and find old newspapers that discuss the Warrens.
Now, Stevie, I don't know if you're still here or not. I believe are all of your Tea Times members only? I know some of them are. I don't know if all of them are. And if any of the mods can throw Stevie's channel in the chat, that would be great. But I do know that some of her stuff is members only and some of it is not. So it might be worth becoming a member on Truth or Demons podcast YouTube channel.
And I present it to my audience and I read it blindly. I haven't read it yet. I share it with the audience and we experience it together and learn together things that are in the paper about them. And what I found was they did start kind of that way. Ed actually more or less lied to the people and said that he was into architecture. So he would go to the homes, draw them, and then show the homeowner that he was into the architecture of their home, asked to be invited in to see more of the architecture, and then somehow gauge how they're feeling and see if they can bring up ghosts. So I found that in a 1974 newspaper, an interview with Ed.
So were you able to find any documentation that would say that Nesper was created back in the 50s?
Nothing. I have found no proof of the established time frame. I have found evidence that they were not ghost hunting yet until 1968. The earliest mention I can find in the paper of them actually doing anything paranormal related was 1968. And 2 years before that, Ed and Lorraine are both in the paper talking about their art. They had their Barn Door Studios, which was their art school and studio. And that's what eventually became the museum. But I found evidence that it didn't become the museum until the 70s. So they weren't openly, actively ghost hunting until 1968. And on top of that, it was just Ed. Ed is in the newspaper being interviewed talking about how he took interest in this and he started exploring it through mediums in his area and seances. And there's no mention of Lorraine in 1968.
Okay. And, also, though, sitting there thinking, you were talking about back then going to somebody's house and painting their house and using, and then trying to talk to them about the architecture of the house. These days, that would never, I would never let somebody into my house. So maybe you could get away with it back then, but now, and also, it was also tough for me because that story, they lived in Connecticut. So how many stories would they find in the paper about hauntings? It's not like now where you have the internet, and if something happens somewhere in California, we know about it at the same time. So it's not that easy to find these so-called back then it wasn't that easy to find those so-called haunted locations in the paper. So a lot of that never really added up.
Right, and I agree. And I actually found
really quick, Sage Rat, $5 super chat. 2 more for the goal. We're 2 away.
What I think is the answer to that, because I actually forgot to include this in my images for you, so I'll have to send it to you. But during one of my tea times, I discovered that the Warrens wrote for the Tattler, the tabloid magazine in the 70s. Yep. They talk about in an interview in the paper that they wrote a weekly column for this tabloid called the Tattler, and I went hunting for it, and by dumb luck, I found it on eBay. Someone had posted the image of the inside with their article. And so I purchased that on eBay, and when I got it, I read it to my audience, and we found out that Ed actually put out an ad for ghost stories, and he offered money for them.
So that literally, just like Stevie's videos, they're showing the articles in this interview. Jason asked me about The Exorcist, and my brain heard Amityville, so I'll be making a quick video to answer that question soon too. Thank you very much, Stevie, for clearing that up. But it's just interesting that, people are saying that Stevie doesn't have the receipts. She got the receipts. Jason Hawes asked for the receipts. Stevie's gonna bring them.
So I think that might be where some of their ghost stories came from. And also, I think they got that idea from Reader's Digest, who also did it, because the Ackley House in New York, the one that's deemed the only legally haunted house in America, the woman, Helen, wrote the story for Reader's Digest, and that's how that got started.
Okay, so the first article that came out that you were talking about in 1968 or 9, I believe
66.
It was.
Or wait, which the one with them together, or were their first paranormal?
Not about their art, but the paranormal wise was like 68.
No, 69. 69.
Oh, 69. I'm sorry. So, and was that just them trying to get the word out that they were paranormal investigators and people could reach out to them, or was that based off of a case?
Neither. Actually, it is an interview with Ed discussing his enthusiasm for the paranormal and how he is getting involved. He is working with mediums who are teaching him things and doing seances with them.
Okay.
And Lorraine is not involved in that article.
All right. So that was pretty much at that point, that was just Ed's deal. His wife wasn't involved. Yep. So were you, through all of your documentation and all your investigating, were you ever able to find the transition of where Lorraine jumped in, or where Lorraine started becoming a sensitive?
Yes.
Dude, so many people are butthurt about this interview. They're looking at Jason and Stevie going,
How dare you speak to me that way?
How dare you speak to the Warrens like that?
So as I progressed in my tea times, I tried to do it chronologically, as in I tried to go back as far as I could and then piece together from there. And there are articles that clearly show when she started becoming involved. And it says that So it originally says that it's just Ed and he's working with other mediums and learning from them. And then all of a sudden you have Lorraine is present as a medium and she is helping Ed and other mediums are helping him do the research. So not only is Lorraine now a medium, they are working with other mediums as well. And they never said, there's never a distinct transition from her joining to becoming a medium. She was just automatically there all of a sudden and a medium.
So maybe people are just jealous that Stevie knows how to do research. Like maybe people just don't know how to do research. They're looking at this going,
I don't even know how you do that.
So in an outsider's view of it, it would almost seem as if, and I've seen this as as an investigator, where mediums tend to get attention and people focus on them and expect things from them. And if you're dealing with an outside sourced medium who's not a part of your team, I mean, to have one that is directly a part of your team and directly connected to you, I think would be a huge benefit, a huge plus for you.
Yes, I agree. And I think Ed realized that. And in my personal opinion, from the way I perceive these articles and how they progressed over time, it felt like Ed learned from these mediums he worked with and then taught Lorraine behind the scenes so she was prepared to just jump in as a legitimate medium.
Well, because Lorraine claimed, one of her claims is that she had been a medium her entire life.
Yes, also about that story changes. In her book, it's one way, and in interviews, it's another.
That's not true.
Sometimes she says she was, I think, 7, 8 or 9, and she was in school and saw a tree that they had just planted grow to full maturity in front of her eyes. A nun noticed she was looking up at it and asked her, what are you looking at? She says, the tree. And she said, are you seeing the future? And she says, yes. And she got reprimanded for a weekend. And then another story goes that she got reprimanded for saying that one of her, Mother Superior in her school, she said that her lights were brighter than one of the teacher's lights were brighter than Mother Superior's, which got her reprimanded as well. So she has 2 different origin stories, quote unquote, on how she first discovered she was a medium.
That's interesting. Honestly, I had heard the rumors that, she had claimed that she was a medium from when she was younger, and knowing them back in, I would have to say, probably the early 90s, it was something that had happened not too long prior to that and so forth. So, I mean, that's the toughest part is the stories have constantly changed to the point where, and I'm not trying to speak ill of those who have passed on, but the stories have constantly changed throughout the years
and literally that's what people are accusing them of. And, all Jason and Stevie are saying is, look, don't believe everything you see in the movies and don't believe literally just look at these articles, decide for yourself. They're telling you you
have been propagandized from his propaganda bullshit.
Like, don't be propagandized. That's what some people might say.
Everything, their own stories, and not just other people's stories that are connected to them, but their own stories have changed so many times throughout the years that it was like they couldn't even keep those straight.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And then I have so many concrete examples of that I don't see how anyone could deny that they just weren't consistent.
Well, I mean, there's always going to be somebody to deny. We know that as well.
For sure.
But, all right. So the main articles that started talking about Ed and Lorraine's claims. I know that there was a 1970s article from a Jill. What was her last name?
Jill Amadio. And she was the reporter that they called. They connected with the newspaper and asked the newspaper to bring out a reporter. It's not like the newspaper sent somebody out because they were well known at that point. Yes.
I mean, people, listen, I thought it was common knowledge that Ed faked it all and he dragged Lorraine in. I mean, I don't know. You know what? Another thing too is, where the hell is Simply Strange? I thought he would have covered this by now.
Sorry to say, but Ben's falling off, man. This is going to be our new TMZ.
And that was the case that involved the known now as Annabelle doll.
Yes.
So, and with that case, from my understanding, well, from what I've you know, it was so different, such a different claim back in the 90s to what it's become now. Because I mean, there are pictures of Lorraine walking around holding the doll. People want to say it's not the same doll. There's pictures of their daughter sitting with the doll. Again, people try to say it's not the same doll. It was the same doll. I mean, that doll was not in this protective case and all that stuff for the longest time. It's only something that's happened, honestly, I want to say just prior to the movie is when that whole idea started being pushed. But up until that point, it was a doll that was just put into their so-called museum.
Yep. And I have a photograph from the newspaper from 1974 where they had a Halloween party, the Warrens did, and they had a bunch of people over to the museum and their house, and there were people that were taking selfies with the Annabelle doll. They're crouched down on the floor with her right there, not in a case. She's just right there, and they're taking pictures with her.
And now all of a sudden it's in a case and you can't touch it because it's going to kill you. Some people might say if you believe that, you might be
incompetent.
I don't know.
How did they all survive?
I know.
So, I've always had a hard time with it, especially seeing, and again, this is a contradiction that Ed had, because Ed wrote in his own book in 1980, I believe, Demonologist, that spirits don't possess objects, spirits possess people.
Exactly.
But then this whole transition happened where the narrative changed and the doll became demonically possessed.
Yes.
And I've always had a hard time with so-called haunted objects, whatever. Possessed dolls, I can't put my mind around it.
So is Jason Hawes,
And the reason why people ain't fucking with you is because you are a liar.
is he calling them liars? No, I don't necessarily think that. Because you're getting into beliefs. So it's like, he's like, he just doesn't believe that damn thing's haunted.
Same. I have a problem with how on earth is this box protecting the entire world when she's moved constantly? She's been on an airplane. Zach touched her. I don't understand.
I mean, and Zach, he touched her and he's blown up. His fortune's getting incredible. So,
if anything, she's good luck.
Exactly. But yeah, it's all right. So in 1970s, Jill interviewed them. She was brought in by the Warrens to interview them, and her story was nothing like it is today. Correct? Because I know the original, Ed was claiming that. The original was that a medium came in and said it was this girl, Annabelle Higgins. But Ed came in and said that it was a girl who had died on the property.
Who?
Whoa!
I mean, who? Huh?
I don't know. I think Ed
Pryor.
Yes. So the book says The Demonologist from 1980, which is what people thought was the first recorded telling of it, but it actually turns out it was Jill Amadio's article. But that telling says that a little girl named Annabelle Higgins, like they name her and everything, even though they say she's not a real human spirit, they do name this spirit, and they say that she died on the property before the apartments were built. And then when you fast forward to, I think it was 2000 or the late 90s, Tony Spira did the public access channel show on the Seekers of the Supernatural, where he interviewed Ed and Lorraine weekly, and they talked about some of their cases. And on that show, Ed says that Annabelle Higgins was a 6-year-old girl who died in an automobile accident in front of the apartment.
Okay, so it had changed again.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, has there ever been any? Well, even beyond that, I know, and it was a brief encounter, but you did initially have contact with the original person who had this doll, and that person's own comment was something like, "The story is nothing like it was."
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I indirectly spoke with what I believe to be Annabelle's original owner from the photographs in the paper. So,
guys, I did interview Stevie last year. Maybe I'll do a stream this weekend just for the hell of it, and we'll react to that interview. Put a 1 in the chat if that's something you guys would like to see.
So the article that Jill Amadio did, there's a couple photographs. One is of Ed holding Annabelle, and then one of the 2 nurses holding Annabelle. And the
We got 3 minutes to hit the super chat goal.
woman that I found, to me, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people I've shown her to agree that she looks identical to that woman in the paper. She said that the Warrens and Hollywood made a lot of it up.
Which, I mean, as somebody who's got a main interest in the Conjuring house, where the Perron family had their own experiences, I can tell you that I know for a fact, even talking with all the parents, that it was a case blown way out of proportion. And they had activity there, but then again, you also had a house full of young women,
I'm gonna let this play for a minute. I'm gonna go take my meds.
Girls, and there's belief that could create its own poltergeist type activity, that they manifest the activity themselves, and again, but that whole thing was blown way out of proportion. For Hollywood. I mean, it was changed all around. And to be honest, Ed and Lorraine weren't even the original investigators on that case. It was Keith and Carl Johnson, who I've known for 30 plus years, and somehow they got pushed out. Yeah. And then this crazy story came out of it.
Yep. That story frustrates me a lot. When I learned that someone else initiated that investigation and then they were shut out the way they were, that was really frustrating.
Yeah, that drives you crazy. But anyways, getting back to that. So now with the Annabelle thing, there's been all these claims, whether it be a priest, getting in a car accident and almost dying, which in the movie, the line that the priest said was something that one of the original people in the house had said, but it was changed to make it seem like it was a priest, correct?
Yes, it was changed a couple times. Originally, it was the guy with the nurses. I'm trying to think of his pseudonym, so I don't say his real name. Lou, or Cal, depending on which book you read. Yeah, he originally said it, and then also a police officer, I think, was said to have said it. There's an account in the book. There's an account in an interview. There's an account from the newspaper. So there's different people saying that. And then there's also different stories about crashes.
Yeah, right down to the motorcycle accident, which there's never been. And the tough part about that is anybody can say a motorcycle accident is attached to something, but there's never been any documentation, never a name, never a location that it happened in, never. Some stories have that he had a girlfriend with him, some that he didn't. Some say he died, some say he didn't. Never been any police reports, anything, no hospital records, nothing to back up that story. Now, John Zaffis, again, Ed's nephew, worked with them forever. I mean, we can pull up pictures of John there. John had blatantly admitted at one point that the story was made up. I mean, John, not at one point, John admits it all the time that the story was made up, that there was no truth behind it, even though some people out there will tell you, oh, you can find it online. It's out there. It's not.
It's not. No, I have asked all over Connecticut libraries, libraries.
So you have a relative of the Warrens saying that certain things aren't true. So what does that tell you?
Police stations. I've emailed everyone. No one can provide any documentation that matches a man and a woman on a motorcycle where the man passed and the woman survived, or on that road even. Like, we had the late Dan Rivera, who used to love to do interviews and say he was an 8-year-old boy when he was driving down Route 8 that goes to Route 25 in a certain location from Monroe to Bridgeport. And he would say specifically this happened in 1980 on that route. And he saw the motorcycle drive by when he was riding with his dad. And the dad mentions, hey, they're going to wreck. They're going too fast. Sure enough, they come around the corner. There's the wrecked motorcycle. He said he sees the woman holding her head and the man is deceased. And Dan tells this story all over in so many interviews. And he even adds in that they were on their way to the Monroe Diner which is a diner that exists, but wasn't even opened until 2012. And then also I found, thanks to a good friend of mine who helped me do some research, she found the road information for the construction of that road, and it was not open in 1980. It wasn't open until February of 1981 or 2. So there's no way.
Well, and I mean, Dan was a good guy from what I know of him. I think I had only met him like twice. And
wait, who?
Whoa! I mean, who?
Who are they talking about?
How did he even tie a motorcycle accident that he supposedly saw when he was 8, tie that back to the Warrens?
Yeah. Yeah, he is adamant that that is what started his connection with the Warrens.
Okay. All right. Well, the tough part also about Dan is Dan sadly passed away a couple years ago, and it seemed like it was like his passing, no matter what, it was trying to be pushed as if it had something to do with Annabelle.
And on top of that, because of the tour that was going on at the time and all the other things that are happening, like the prison break and the fire and people just saying, oh, and the internet outage and the 911 outage, that's what it was. They were saying that was Annabelle as well. So yeah, they were taking pretty strong advantage of that, I think.
That's sad. It's heartbreaking because the family, and I had actually did a post about that because it was so disgusting to see all these things that people were saying and trying to attach it to this doll, which, I mean, I can't say for sure, but I can say that there's been reference again by certain family members that's not even the original doll.
Yes.
So you've heard that as well?
Yes, I've heard a couple stories. I've heard through hearsay. I have to make that clear. This is not fact that I have proof of, but I have heard from several different people that either the first Annabelle was sold privately and replaced, or it dry rotted and had to be replaced.
I don't know who that was.
There goes Dust. He's been after me for the longest time.
I don't know who that was.
Right. Yeah, and those were from, I know you're saying hearsay, but it was from people close to the source.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. It's same here. And all right, so now let's talk about first off, I know that Tony has said things about, I don't know Tony very well. I've met him a couple times, and but I know Tony has said things about them, leasing out these objects, and that Lorraine would have been proud of this or happy for this, and all those things. But then again, I know members of the family who feel very differently about that.
Yes.
Now, I know you've spoken to some about that.
Yes, a lot of the people that I've spoken to that were either family or close to the Warrens all agree that Lorraine wouldn't have wanted this.
And I think they're talking about...
I know you're there to cause problems, dude. I know.
John Zappis, who has, came out publicly and said some things. Who knows? Maybe he'll comment on this.
There is argument over whether or not Annabelle has traveled before. She has. She's gone to they did the night with Annabelle at the restaurant. She's done in the 90s. They took her to a few things, to a few events. And so she has traveled before, but Lorraine has always been insistent, from everyone that has told me anyway, that you don't mess with her. Like, you just leave her there. You don't look at her. She doesn't even want to look at her. So the fact that she's just being moved around and people are coming in and staying with her, and like they even in some of the YouTube investigations, they open the case and they sit there and they do their silly EVPs with their DR60s and stuff.
So when did Annabelle, from your research, when did she go from this doll that there's pictures of, Judy playing with the doll and Lorraine holding the doll and other people holding it? When did it go to all of a sudden something that you couldn't touch, that you had to avoid, you couldn't make eye contact with?
So I can't find a clear time frame for when she was put in the case. I want to say it's probably about the time they started holding more events or like letting people come to the museum, because they started charging admission for people to come to the museum and see things. And I think somewhere in the transition of just telling the stories and it becoming a museum you visit, that's when the case was created and she was put in it. I do know that Dan remade a case for her at some point, but as far as I know, I think it probably would have been around the 80s maybe, or early 90s, that she started being kept in a case and that story started being perpetuated. But I can't find any distinction of not in the case to the case.
And when it came down to the whole demonologist aspect, I know Ed was, as you said, he was getting involved into the paranormal in the late 60s, early 70s. The demonologist aspect seemed to kick off more around the same time as the Exorcist movie, correct?
Yes. And I have a really adamant idea on their link with Amityville and their fame, because I really feel like, from what I've researched and all the papers that I've read up until Amityville happened, that they were getting any traction until Amityville. And I discovered that after Amityville happened and the book came out, they were mentioned in the book. They were not co-authors, but newspapers were reporting that they were the authors of that book.
Oh wow. Okay, I was unaware of that.
Yeah, I learned that recently and thought that makes so much sense, because their fame kind of skyrocketed around that time nationally. Like before then, I could only find them like locally in the paper, in Connecticut or New York even. But now they're in like Tennessee, Georgia, California, just random states.
So this means that basically what Stevie is telling you all is that she'll check local papers in towns and states to find articles on the Warrens and what is said, because she does her research.
Because of Amityville.
All right. But there were cases also, so, you know, they had that small involvement in the Amityville, even though it was made to seem like it was much more. But there were also cases that the Conjuring series covers that the Warrens claim to have been a part of, but they weren't.
Yes.
Which I believe was the second movie. I never saw the second movie. I only saw the first one. But the second movie, so they weren't even involved in that case?
Correct. So that was the Enfield case. It happened in Enfield, England. And what really happened was Ed was over there. I don't know if he was there for this case specifically, but he did go to England a lot, and they did a lot of traveling over there. So during this case, Ed himself went with two of his investigators. I can't remember the names of, but he took them in with the family and did some recordings. So there is a recording of him sitting down with Janet and her sister, and that recording is transcribed in The Demonologist, and it's transcribed to be scary. The book makes you feel like there's growling happening, things are being thrown. It's a very violent, scary situation. But the recording, when you listen to it, which is on YouTube, I found it on YouTube, somebody random, I tried to reach out to them, but didn't get a reply, but the most random channel you could think of, a channel about piano and music, posted this interview with Ed and the Enfield girls, and they're laughing and they're giggling, and Ed says, "Can you make something fly across the room?" And she says, "No, I don't want to." So it doesn't match up as far as like the way they presented in the book. And I wonder if that's why it's obviously never been released by the Warrens, because there's a lot of that. They have a lot of evidence they claim to have that they never released. So I'm wondering if this was one of those cases where they couldn't because it didn't match up what they were saying. But it was just Ed. Lorraine did not go on that trip. And then later I was told that they did go back and visit them again, but it was not to help them. And Guy Playfair, who was one of the actual investigators on that case, says that Ed came to him and said, "If you want to work together, I can make you a lot of money." And Guy said that told him everything he needed to know, and he said no and didn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah. I can make you a lot of money if we do this. So, you know, that does say a lot.
Well, I know even the person who was doing their biography back in, what was it, the 80s or whatever, had said something about, if Lorraine told me the sun would come up tomorrow, I would get a second opinion. Yeah. So, I mean, Yeah, that's that's not the way you want to be represented by anybody.
Yeah. And that's not the only author they worked with to say things like that about them.
All right. So straight out, do you believe anything about this Annabelle doll?
I do not. I fully believe it was a story curated based on multiple things, but also I think it was based on partially the Twilight Zone, because it said that Ed was a big fan of it. And if you compare that one episode about the doll, Talkie Tina, it is exactly the same as Annabelle. A girl is gifted a doll on her birthday. It talks, it comes to life.
I'm going to have to watch that episode now. We're definitely not reacting because I think, copyright, but
evil because it goes after her stepfather, which some might say it was warranted because he was a bad guy. But I mean, all in all, it's the same story. And the mother, the character that plays the mother, her name is Annabelle.
Yeah. I mean, everything ties in. I mean, you're able to figure out exactly. And I think a big issue was back then, they didn't have the internet. They didn't have the ability to scour for information, which was probably a benefit to them because people couldn't dissect all the stories. And if something was bought at a flea market or a yard sale, you could say whatever you wanted about it because chances are whoever you got it from isn't going to know that you ever said that.
Yep.
Which is very different.
I've heard that Ed did that he would go find things and then they would show up in the museum with a story.
So, all right. So talk to me about this fire doll.
This is my favorite story.
This is,
here we go, guys, about the fire doll.
Supposedly Nesper, and this is not an attack towards Nesper, but but there's claims that they have a fire doll, and they claim that it burned down a house, correct?
Yes.
Oh, come on.
And the reason why people ain't fucking with you is because you are a liar.
The claim is, so they have this doll. It's a porcelain collector's doll. It's in a case. It's in Annabelle's old case, to be exact. And its hands are wrapped in bubble wrap. And they claim that that's because they're bound for some paranormal reason. And they also claim that this doll that is in perfect condition set a house on fire and was found in the rubble completely unscathed, unscorched, completely fine. And this doll's story, I have come to find, has changed several times. And as a researcher, I know that can happen. I know you can find new things that need to be added, that need to be corrected, that kind of thing. But in this case, the story starts out with a couple from the East Coast gave Ed and Lorraine the doll because it set their house on fire. Then the story progresses, and it's a family that moved from the East Coast, or from the West Coast to the East Coast, to give Lorraine and Ed the doll because it set their house on fire. Then, a couple years ago, a new story emerged, a very elaborate story, and they printed out the newspaper article, and they put it in a frame, and they put it under the doll. And I was watching a video where a team was in the museum investigating, and they were told.
Now, this is the article for the fire doll that used to be in the museum.
To go read the article under the doll because they were getting names on their spirit box. One of the names they were getting was Elizabeth. And Dan told them, go over to the article, read the article. I'm pretty sure one of the children that perished in the fire's name is Elizabeth. So they go, and this person starts reading the article, and they're reading it verbatim. So I'm able to take those words and search them on the internet. And they get down to where he says he finds the name. He's like, oh yeah, I see it here. Here's the name Elizabeth. It was this person. So I find the article. I find the article has been written in 2019 by a man named David Kradisek. He is a true crime author and journalist, and he wrote this story about a family of, I think, 13. I think 12 of them passed away, or 11 of them passed away in the fire, and it was set by one of the children. She was a teenager, and she set the fire because she was forbidden to date her cousin. Her dad told her no, she got mad, set the whole house on fire. And unfortunately, everyone in the house perished except her grandfather. He managed to get out, and his testimony's in the paper. So this family that passed away, unfortunately, in this fire is in this newspaper article. This incident, even though this article was written in 2019, the incident happened in 1969 in West Virginia. And they're saying that this incident was caused by the doll, even though the doll's not mentioned in the article anywhere. And it actually says in the article that the child started the fire. They are just running with it. This is now the fire doll story. She's the reason this fire happened in 1969.
So there's no connection. So there's no connection to the actual doll ever being there in the first place?
Right. There's no proof of that. They just have.
So really quick, I do want to add that when Stevie originally came out with these articles and pretty much, showing that that article really had nothing to do with that fire doll, magically that article was not anywhere to be found near the fire doll after that. from what I'm told, allegedly.
The article for this family under the doll, and Tony tells people that the doll started the fire. So there's that. But on top of that, I look up this doll. And one of my favorite research tools is the reverse Google image search. I use it all the time. It's found so many things for me.
I use it when I go to I use it when I go to thrift stores and stuff to check. I'm like, oh wow, that thing has some history to it, because we love doing that, looking for antiques.
Yes, and you can find so many things that are online that are related to your image, and it's so helpful. So I put the doll's image in, and yes, she is like in this box with this weird red lighting, and it makes her look a little weird, but enough of her features are available in the image that it immediately pulled up the actual doll and its history. This doll was called the Honey Bunch doll, and it was created by a woman named Susan Cray, and it wasn't created until the year 1998.
Wow, so it's almost 30 years after this fire.
Yes.
And they're claiming that the doll started the fire. Wow.
Yes. And I have even more to that story now since I've done it. I think it's been about a year since I covered that. And when I initially covered it, I was under the impression that Dan and or Wade had come up with this article to attach to the doll because they were pushing it to the group that was investigating the museum. And so I'm watching an interview with Wade, and Wade says that Elton Castay of Overnight found this article based on his Estes method with the fire doll. So I go back and I look at the overnight stay at the Warren house, and sure enough, they did an Estes method that they say gave them names and dates that they then compared to this article and determined this article was about the fire doll.
And thank you, T-Bex, for the 600 jewels. One day I'm going to figure out what the hell those are, but thank you very much.
Even though it was 30 years prior to the doll being created.
Yes. And they say that there are marks on the doll because of the lighting, and they say that the doll's hands are in bubble wrap to prevent her from starting any more fires.
Do you think that doll is set up to be the next haunted ghost doll story?
I think it was. I really think it was, because Tony was ecstatic that they had an actual real life story to tie to it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's horrible because a real family that perished.
Yes.
And the only reason they're being brought up is because they're trying to attach it to something that was made 30 years after they perished.
Yes, and I've looked, and there are no other media about this story. Like, if you look at true crime media, you can usually find a story like this. It's covered it. There is one YouTube channel that's not very big in West Virginia that has covered the history, because they are from West Virginia, but that's it. No one else has covered it. No one else has talked about it. The man that wrote that article, David Krajicek, I actually reached out to him and spoke with him, and he said that he did not give permission for his article to be used in that way, and he knows nothing of a haunted doll.
Well, oh my God, it's ridiculous. Just using the tragedy of that.
Yeah, yes, and that happens a lot. They use bad tragedies for that stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's a big problem in the paranormal community right now is that somebody will have a story, and then the truth will come out, and the truth gets very little traction because the scary story far outweighs the truth. And we've seen that with the whole Dybbuk box, or whatever the hell they call it.
Yes.
Where the man blatantly admitted that he had created this story just to sell this piece.
What is that called? The dumbass box?
And wanted to create the story. He came out, he admitted the truth, but it's still, everybody thinks of this box as containing a demon and all this other stuff, and being scared to open it. But the man told the truth and said that he had made up this story. And that gets kind of swept under the rug and not paid any attention to, because the story is better. It grabs more traction, and it goes. And that doesn't help this field. I mean, things like that hurt this field. They set it back. They keep it stagnant, because when things like that happen, you have all these people who I'd love to see step in the field, whether it's electrical engineers and designers and all these things. They don't want to get involved in something that is so silly. It's just, it does nothing but hurts everything that real investigators, whether they're paranormal investigators or not, are trying to do for this field.
Yes, I agree. And I feel like it also takes advantage of the audiences because of the monetization. They're pushing all these things and making money off of it.
Well, because the word demon is going to do a hell of a lot better in the algorithm than I was able to figure out what this was. And it's not a ghost. Yes. And so every thumbnail, every title has to have, I was attacked by a skinwalker attacked me, or a demon did this, a demon attacked my crew. And I also think that the problem with that is, first off, that people are allowed just to do that, but this newer generation that's coming up with the mindset that this is possible, that this is real, and that doesn't help us as well, because that newer generation, some of those people are becoming investigators, and they're going into people's houses with that mindset that a demon is inside this box over here, or a demon is controlling that doll, believing that. And again, just the absurdity of that hurts the field. It doesn't help it. The only thing it helps is clicks or AdSense or people making money off of it.
Yes, I agree completely. Do you know the true origin stories of the demon of The Exorcist, the Pazuzu?
I do, to a point, but you go right ahead, bring it up.
So I covered this in a live one time because I like to do little mini deep dives and
I know The Exorcist
figure out stuff.
it was about a boy.
Yes.
Yes.
So the demon Pazuzu, in the movie, in the book and the movie, is said to be this demon that comes after Reagan, the character Reagan. Yep. In reality, Pazuzu was a deity of protection of children. It was summoned to protect children.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you really want to trace back all the roots, I mean, we can talk about how Satan was originally like the god of prosperity and all stuff like that, which, before it was this whole heaven and hell, good and evil thing. Which, I mean, a lot of people don't realize because, of course, books were written and beliefs were there and they ran with it. So,
Yep. I think I've heard many times since starting my show, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story.
And that's such a backwards mentality.
It is. It drives me crazy.
Oh my God. Yeah. Because I'm one of those people that I deal in facts. I deal in truth. And it's like, as an investigator, my philosophy has always been, you're calling me in not to be your friend. You're calling me in to solve what the problem is. So you might get irritated at me if I'm able to debunk that it's not a ghost or figure out what the problem is, but you're calling me in to help me. We could be friends after, but I'm not here as your friend. I'm here as somebody that you called in to resolve something.
Right. You're not there to fluff up their ideas.
Exactly. I mean, that's the easiest way to say
it. Stevie says, Dust, I just want to say I love you and thank you. Stevie, I got you. Like, for real. I think you're cool as hell. I'm proud to call you one of my online friends. That's a fact. It's just life gets in the way. Sometimes you can't talk to people as much as you would like.
So, and there's other objects that, I mean, you sent me a list of objects. My God, your lists are long, Stevie. I think you're awesome because, so now I know nothing about this, but talk to me about this baboon head thing. What the hell is that about? I really like
this one too. So I don't know how long this one's been in the museum. I do know it's been there at least since the 90s because I had a woman share photos of it back then before it was on the recent traveling circus show. So back in the 90s when it was on display, it looked like a werewolf, and I'm not sure there was a baboon plaque or not, but it didn't have, like, now it has these weird, really massive lower tusks, so you can tell they've been added, and I've seen the pictures of before. So it's been modified over time, for one. And
I get emotional when it comes to this because like I genuinely care about my online friends. So people like Stevie and people like Florio and Joan, like they matter to me. So all right, I gotta man up, right? Thank you though, Stevie, very much. I might be reacting to the interview that you and I did this weekend. We'll see.
And when I put the pictures of it into Google reverse image search, it took me to an eBay listing who has multiple creatures very identical to this specific one. And it says that they're Halloween props and they were created by a creator called Creatures by Kip. There's a little tag on it and it says the creator's name. And on the back of the tag, it says created in the Philippines. So number one, it's not a baboon head. I don't know why they try saying that. It's not even just a head. It's like a full body. It's got a little body and a head and a robe and a staff and everything. And it's identical to the other ones that I found on eBay. So in my personal opinion, somewhere in either the Warrens' travels or their grandson's travels, because he's said to has spent a ton of time in the Philippines, I feel like it came back from one of those trips, and that's how it entered the museum.
I feel like I missed some golden opportunities here because I was in the Bahamas and they cut you these coconuts and they do all these weird things with it. And I could have had them make me this awesome object and could have claimed it was the next
a little puppet.
Yeah, I could have claimed it was the next possessed object. I could have been opening up museums everywhere and running with it.
Yep.
Again, I think a lot of it is that they didn't foresee the internet.
Yes, I agree.
The internet being what it was, and people being able to research. Though not enough people are actually doing the research, they're just accepting what's being said as truth. And I think that's a huge issue when it comes down to this field, because this field's always been about somebody tells you what's going on, you take it with a grain of salt, you look for the explanation, and you figure out if it's what really happened. We had a case where a lady claimed that she was stabbed by a ghost. This is going back about 20, 25 years ago. And we went there, we investigated. I mean, she had taken a blade to her shoulder. But what happened was...
So Stevie seems like such a genuine person. Well, I know she seems like that to you. She definitely is to me. I just want to put that out there. But thank you for the kind comment. What's up, Big Rudy?
She came around the corner. She saw something, which she said was an entity. She jumped back. She hit the fridge. They had small kids, so they kept their butcher block knife thing up on the top of the fridge. Her hitting the fridge the way she did, it fell over. One came out and caught her in the shoulder. So a ghost didn't stab her in the shoulder like she had claimed, but it was, horrible circumstances that led up to her taking a knife into the shoulder. Again, I could have just taken it and run with it and been like, oh my God, this is the next Hollywood movie. A ghost stabbed this lady in the shoulder. But it had nothing to do with that. The truth was this happened. A bunch of circumstances that led up to this. But I mean, things are just, people are not investigating enough anymore. Yes. They're just taking somebody's word as gospel.
Listen, I started paranormal investigations in like 2007, really. And the paranormal field then is very different than the paranormal field now. And I can say that, like, it's a bunch of bullshit now. Like, people just watch this shit on TV and on YouTube, and they fucking think that they can just go buy these fucking gadgets and go to these haunted places and catch whatever the fucking ghost meter says, or ghost box, and get these EMF readings and catch like EVPs and think that they're ghost hunters or paranormal investigators. No, there's a lot fucking more to being a paranormal investigator than just buying some fucking equipment and going to a haunted location.
They're accepting whatever somebody says and believing it. Or do you think that they're believing it, or do you just think that, I don't know, it's tough. Do you think that they're believing it, or do you think that they're just enjoying the entertainment, the showman part of it?
Honestly, I think it's both. I think they want to believe it so badly that there is no room for question.
Well, and the problem is, when you want to believe something so badly, a lot of times you'll manifest anything.
Yes.
Anything that happens becomes due to that. It's, you go and see the so-called haunted object, and 3 days later, your dog passes away, or somebody in your family gets in an accident. You tie it into this, so the legend keeps on growing.
Yes, and we have lots of examples of that, of people experiencing a whole slew of bad events after they challenged or disrespected an item that they encountered, that they know, like they have the pre-knowledge of knowing going in to see this item that if they disrespect it, something bad will happen to them. So it's easier for them to attribute the things that happen to that.
Yeah, and another concern is I see people will post things like somebody might post a so-called haunted object or whatever, and then you get these people throwing out these prayers online because they saw it.
Yes.
And again, that is fueling something that with incorrect information. And their belief system is one of their own, and I respect that. But them throwing it out there because again, they're believing that this thing can do these things. I mean, I think that's a dangerous game to be playing.
I agree completely. I've heard of too many stories where someone's belief system steered them in the wrong direction. Like with psychics, I heard a story where this lady lost her daughter, and she spoke to a psychic about it. Her daughter died in an accident, and the psychic told her that she was trapped where the accident happened. So this woman, every single day of her life, went and sat on the side of the road waiting for her daughter to reach out to her.
And you hear of all these other stories too. I think there was and I just, like, don't quote me, it was definitely on some talk show where some psychic was on a talk show and she did a reading for someone that was in the fucking crowd, and the person had like a child or someone that was missing, and the psychic said, oh, they've passed, they're no longer alive. and it was like, I don't know how long after they found that person alive. You know what I mean? Like it's
That's devastating. That is awful.
Well, I know that there were things with certain sensitives, and some we might have just recently been talking about, or so-called mediums, had a tendency to sometimes go to homes and, you know, claim certain objects were holding different types of energy, and you remove that object from the house and it would resolve it. And those objects would then sometimes appear in museums.
Yes, yes. I have a few examples of that.
Which examples you got?
So I spoke with Carl Glatzel of the Glatzel family, The Devil Made Me Do It case, the movie that the Warrens did. Carl said that Lorraine did that to his mother. There was a tapestry they had hanging on the wall in their home, and Lorraine came in and said, "There's evil attached to that tapestry." The mother, Judy Glatzel, said, "Oh no, what do I do?" And Lorraine said, "Give it to me, I'll keep it safe."
Yeah. Just seems like another way of taking advantage of somebody who's in desperate need of, whether it be assistance with the paranormal or assistance with something else. Because a lot of these cases, I reference a case a lot of times where we were called in on a so-called possession case, and it wasn't, you know, we would get sent these cases to go in and do preliminary investigations and just do a write-up on what we thought, because 99.9% of those have nothing to do with the paranormal. They have nothing to do with demonic possession. Usually it's, you know, overly religious, over-medicated, under-medicated, self-medicated, issues like that. So, and we checked, and it was not anything to do with the paranormal, and we gave our recommendations. Well, shortly thereafter, another team was called in, and with a total different viewpoint, and believed or claimed that it was a possession. And this, I hate to say it, but it ended up making air. And
hang on.
It drove me crazy because
hang on. I need to go back a little bit.
Yeah. Just seems like another way of taking advantage of somebody who's in desperate need of, whether it be assistance with the paranormal or assistance with something else. Because a lot of these cases, I reference a case a lot of times where we were called in on a so-called possession case, and it wasn't, you know, we would get sent these cases to go in and do preliminary investigations and just do a write-up on what we thought. Because 99.9% of those have nothing to do with the paranormal. They have nothing to do with demonic possession. Usually it's, you know, overly religious, over-medicated, under-medicated, self-medicated, issues like that. So, and we checked, and it was not anything to do with the paranormal, and we gave our recommendations. Well, shortly thereafter, another team was called in, and with a total different viewpoint, and believed or claimed that it was a possession. And this, I hate to say it, but it ended up making air. And it drove me crazy, because you sit there and you think this individual needs help. They need psychological help, and all you're doing is fueling something that isn't really, you know, going on, and and it's being fueled just for what? Gains, for attention, for.
So Jason Hawes says that they were called in because of a case of possession, and they thought, well, this person is just dealing with some psychological stuff. And then another team was called in, and that episode made it to TV. Now, and I'm not, I'm just saying, the only possession case on a TV show that I remember, or the one that stands out the most, is on Paranormal State, I Am 6. So I wonder if Jason's team was called in first before PRS was, and a lot of people said that. Well, actually, it was the team later on said that she had a lot of like mental issues, and also she had this huge crush on Ryan. So like she would claim she's possessed, and then here comes Ryan running, and like that was on the show more than once. Now, is this what Jason Hawes is talking about? I have no idea. I'm not saying it was. I'm just saying, like, because that's the only case I remember from a TV show. And I only watched that show again because I knew some of the cast, and I never asked any of them about it. Maybe I will. I don't know, but the only case I remember of a possession on a TV show is I Am 6 from a paranormal show.
Or, you know, at what? At the cost of somebody's own well-being.
Yes, exactly.
And you see that time and time again. I mean, there's been endless cases out there where families have been manipulated or driven into certain circumstances that they didn't have to be, all for, whether, again, clicks, views, you know, to build up a following. And it's heartbreaking. It really is.
I agree.
Not even just heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, but it's terrifying because you just hope that that's not where this field is going to. There just needs to be more people looking for the truth. People need to stop running with this stuff and just look for the truth.
I agree completely.
So, all right, what else you want to talk about? Seeing you've dissected everything here.
I think so, yeah.
And one thing I want to say, like,
Stevie did not dissect anything. Like, honestly, this interview barely scratches the surface as to what Stevie has found.
Again, the videos you put out, they're great because they're so informative. All the information is there, and you're not just saying something and saying, this is what I think. You're putting the stuff out there for people to be able to research themselves and see the truth and draw their own conclusions.
Yeah, that's why I do it. I get people mistake my show a lot for just being bashing and discrediting the Warrens and trying to force people to admit they're fakers. And that's not it at all. There are times when I don't have any proof, where I just discuss it and I show them all the sides, all the information, all the evidence I have found, and it's up to you. It's not up to me. It always is. Like, I can feel how I want to feel. I can believe what I want to believe, and so can everyone else. And it's up to people to decide if they're going to take in the information and the facts and receipts. Because I've noticed a lot of the time, when people don't want to believe that anything has been faked, they completely deny the facts, the receipts, everything. Like, I can put hardcore proof in front of someone's face, and they will say to me, this has happened. Where is your proof?
Yeah, I mean, that could come right down to the whole Judy Penny thing.
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's and for those out there who might not know who that is, I mean, if you want to tell the story, you feel free. Because I was aware of Judy. I was aware of her back in the 90s. It wasn't something that was being hidden intentionally. It wasn't until I think the movie stuff started to come out, and Ed and Lorraine fought to make sure that they were in control of certain aspects.
So listen, John Zappis talks about Judith Penny, and if any of the mods want to go and grab that John Zappis interview and put it in the chat for anyone that wants to see it, if you haven't seen that yet, we have played that on so many channels because John Zappis is speaking his truth, and he has talked about Judith Penny.
That was kind of hidden.
Yep. So for those who don't know, Judy Penny was Ed's mistress. According to all of the things I've found and all the people I've talked to, the relationship started when she was 15 and he was 35. And it continued until he passed. She was always there. John Zappis says it. People who have encountered the Warrens knew her. Some knew her as the secretary. Some knew her as a niece. She's in the book as a secretary. In their books, she's mentioned as Judy the secretary, takes their calls and messages while they're away. She was always there.
I knew who she was through John.
Yeah.
So again, we're going back, 30 years ago. So, and at that point, it was one of those things that we knew. It was like John would say, it's Ed's girlfriend. So
yep. And John also confirmed that the portion of the house above the house, the little upstairs apartment, was specifically built for Judy.
Yeah. I don't know. It's there's so much information out there, I think. And but a lot of that was also kind of scrubbed.
Yes.
A lot of it was pushed under the rug to keep a certain image together. Because I mean, it was the movie, the premise of it was, Ed and Lorraine and their love for one another and so forth. But there's just a lot of inconsistencies when it came down to that.
Yep, tons.
So where do you think now, Ed and Lorraine, they've been gone, rest their souls. But where do you think the legacy of the Warrens goes now?
I unfortunately think it's going to become a sideshow. I don't.
Stevie, I'm sorry to tell you, it's already a sideshow because all of those haunted objects are always on tour. Wouldn't that be considered a sideshow?
I don't think that it's their specific history, I don't think is being preserved well. It's being kind of overshadowed with some more stuff that's being thrown in, things that I don't believe are true. More items that didn't come from them are being added by the new owners. It's kind of becoming a circus. I think it started becoming a circus when they first started touring things with Nesper, but now it's just become this big, look at me, look at what we have, let us scare you kind of thing. It's not about the history of the Warrens. It's not about the history of the cases. I was really hoping that they would stay true to what they said and share some of that evidence that's been hoarded in their house for decades. We're never going to see that. I had a feeling we wouldn't. I hoped, but it just kind of bothers me that that is such a big, giant piece of our paranormal history as a community that we're never really going to get to see the truth of it.
Well, do you think Ed and Lorraine, what do you think they brought to the field, the paranormal field? Do you think it was a positive, a negative? What's your true belief?
A lot of people have mixed feelings on this.
Beliefs.
So someone once said to me that two things can be true at once, and I fully believe that. I think both. I think they pioneered a genre for us, a field of study, but at the same time, they tainted it. They were obvious fakers. We have proof that they made things up for attention and for not clicks and views, but for books, for lectures, for getting attention. And I just feel like it's always going to be both. No matter how much I debunk, no matter how much the people want to believe them, they helped pioneer this for all the people in the field, and they also tainted it.
And I've talked with Kenny Biddle. Who I know you know Kenny, and Kenny is one of the top debunkers out there and skeptics and everything else. And Kenny's been a good friend of mine for many years, and we've always looked at it differently. And I see Kenny's view on it, and I can totally respect it. I look at it like, do I agree with the Warrens? No, I don't. But did they help get the word out about the paranormal? Yeah, they did. But Kenny makes a great argument when he says, yeah, but at what cost?
Yes.
I mean, did it benefit the paranormal or did it hurt it? And he makes a valid point there because you got to wonder, yeah, it got the word out and, in all these movies and everything, but that's not what the paranormal is.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen like that. All these movies contradict almost all their writings, their earlier writings. So
yes.
it doesn't add up. Mm-hmm. So I can agree with you on that, but also I do see Kenny's point on it, and it's one of those things where only time will tell. But I think we're seeing the more absurdness more and more every other day. I feel like the absurdness is taking over. There was at one point, I feel like, more of a balance, and now it's just more silliness. Yeah. Now those objects are they're on like a 5-year lease or something, or
according to what we know publicly, yes.
Okay.
And they're 1 or 2 years into that lease,
and it almost gives the impression, as I know, like you were saying, other objects are being thrown in there now, and it almost gives the impression that it's like building something off of the back of this. So if that lease isn't extended, they still have this other.
It does feel like that, yeah. And they are also, which I personally don't agree with this, but they're also throwing true crime things into this museum, and I feel like it's a little disrespectful to people who are victims of true crime, because I see a lot of the time in true crime, I'm a true crime consumer. I love true crime podcasts and such, but I get worried for when things become sensationalized and then put into the paranormal. Like recently, I was on Taryn from Paranormal Brew. I was on her show, and we talked about Mackenzie Sharilla's case. She was a young woman who caused an accident that killed 2 people, and she's in jail for it. And now that the case has been sensationalized because of Netflix, we have the paranormal community jumping on it and claiming to speak to these people that are deceased. And that's really frustrating.
That sounds like a Dolly thing or a Hope Paranormal thing, doesn't it?
For me, because when you combine those two, it happens. We see it a lot, especially like in the Devil Made Me Do It case. The victims get lost, and same with Amityville. The victims are forgotten. We're only remembering the possessed perpetrators.
No, it's true, and it's pretty much whatever the biggest trending words are out there. The paranormal and true crime. I mean, those are huge trending keywords. So if we can cover them both, then we've opened up so many more doors, is what it almost seems like.
Yep.
And as a guy I've got an office here that's full of objects that people have sent me for that, so-called, that they believe to have some attachment. And it's fine. I put them in my office. But I can tell you that nothing's ever happened in my office that's made me fearful being here. And these are objects that I've got a spoon over there that, according to history and the stuff that's sent, 3 people have passed away using this spoon, choked. I have a tea.
Well, here's the question, Jason Hawes. Did you eat cereal with that spoon yet?
Set that was.
I'm sure he has.
Supposedly from a man and a woman who had just gotten married and got into a car accident leaving after using that and perished. And the list goes on and on. But it's not. But they're here in my office. It's not like I'm selling tickets for people to come to my office because it's haunted and terrifying.
Dude, if you were selling tickets to your office, I'd call you creepy. Oh my God. Sorry.
Yeah, and using people's tragedy for your benefit.
Exactly. And I never asked for any of these objects. People sent those to me because they didn't want anything to do with it. Fine. If you want to get rid of something, all right, that's fine. But I'm not going to use it and then go and try to get everybody to pay to go see it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. So where do you think we go from here in this field?
My hopes are, I have high hopes for this. My hopes are that critical thinking brains will start to be more prevalent and that people will start to seek the truth more as they start to understand that a lot of this stuff is simply made for entertainment. I recently had the pleasure of helping a senior class in Connecticut. The teacher, Mrs. Farkle, shout out to her and her class. They reached out to me. Well, the teacher reached out to me to ask permission to use my research to present to her class and teach them how to research and find facts that support lore. She teaches mythos and legends in her high school, and they used my research to essentially debunk Annabelle.
That's awesome. Good for you.
That was really exciting for me. I was super excited to know that high school students were using their brains to look past the fakery.
Yeah, I mean,
high schools are using Stevie's videos and how she researches. That is damn impressive.
I've got some friends who are science teachers in high schools, and they've brought me in to speak to their classes because I don't look at the paranormal like your typical investigator. Everything's a ghost. I'm always looking for the explanation, and it can be whether it's animals in the wall, whether it's bad wiring, no matter what it is, it could be something else, and you need to remove all those chances that it's something else before even looking at it as paranormal. And because all para is the Greek word for beyond, so it's beyond the normal of what we're used to until we understand it. I mean, so you can look back, and so many things that were paranormal 75 years ago are normal things now. So
exactly, yeah. Like people used to think phones were witchcraft because they didn't understand how they worked.
Speaking of witchcraft, okay, so now I hear these things are going to now have a home in Salem, and I've got a very good friend, Sherry, who lives out in Salem, in next town over or whatever, and I know that there's a lot of people who are bothered by that, and some of these people are bothered because they're like, we don't want this haunted object, specific object there, but a lot of them are bothered because, according to what they've heard, Ed and Lorraine did not care for any type of witchcraft. Now, is that true?
That is 100% true, and I actually have something to back that. I will send you that link, that photo as well. So
they don't. So Lorraine and Ed did not like witches. So to all of the witches in the chat, I have a question for you. Are you a good witch or a bad witch? And that's just me being a fucking jackass. I really have no opinion on it. I find it all fascinating. I talk to Florio about that stuff now and again, and I'll pick her brain, and like the things she tells me, I think is very fascinating,
So during my tea times, I came across an article where Ed used a coven of witches for his own benefit. He brought them into the museum because they were doing an event that they were televising, and Ed used their televised event at his museum to get himself on TV while simultaneously trash talking them and saying that all witches were Satan worshippers.
Wow. And that's...
Wait, hang on. All witches are Satan worshippers? So, Joan, that means that you were a Satan worshipper adjacent, apparently, according to Ed? I don't know. I don't think so. I believe my sister, one of my sisters, or it's either one of my sisters or it was an aunt that claimed that they're into Wiccan stuff.
The furthest thing from the truth, though.
Yes. And also, Tony perpetuates a story that Ed blames a coven of witches, I'm wondering if it's this coven, for coming into his museum and intentionally cursing things.
All right, but Wicca and pagan, we're talking about the oldest religion known,
there is no Satan.
Known to man. The minute somebody did a dance around a fire in hopes of a good kill, that fell under the whole paganism belief system, which is the first religion.
Yep.
Not that they were calling out to the devil to have him.
Nope.
And, you know, some of my dear friends are, you know, involved in witchcraft and stuff like that. And some of the best people I know are in Salem. Salem has such an incredible people there.
Yes, I agree.
From all different walks of life. And it's amazing because you can go there and you can connect with everybody because they're so, they just want you to understand what they're about.
Yes,
and
I love Salem. I've been a couple times and I would live there if I could.
It's only like an hour and a half for me. And I love it because all the people there are so welcoming. You don't have to believe, you know, what they believe, but just have respect.
Whose sister was a princess?
For their belief. And that the world needs more of that.
I agree.
But I've seen so many people there that are really upset about what's transpiring. And right down to, I know Sherry was voicing some concern and stuff. I stay out of it because I've got my issues with certain individuals anyways, and, you know, we're handling that. But yeah, so what's your thoughts on that whole thing?
I fully agree that it is not the place for the Warrens. For any of their items, for any of their history, they were not supporters of witches. Multiple times in multiple stories, they blame Ouija boards for things. They blame witchcraft for things. They blame Satanism on witchcraft and vice versa. They do not, as history tells us, the Warrens do not respect witches in any way. They fully believe they were bad. I guarantee you, they probably didn't think the witch trials were a bad thing. And Salem is all about correcting that history and paying homage to the victims. And it just doesn't seem fitting to me that the Warrens would be honored in a town where they condemned its history, like its witch history.
Yeah.
And people tell me, I've had multiple people that are mad at me tell me, well, the Warrens have a really
Who's the princess? What?
Whoa! I mean, who? Huh?
strong connection with Salem. They were there all the time. They were in Salem all the time because they were lecturing about the perils of witchcraft.
The contradictories.
Yeah, I have articles from Salem where they are talking about witchcraft.
Yeah, that's not something you'd want to go and speak against now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Read a book. You're telling me to read. Ugh. Oh, I got T-Bex. All right, we're almost done with this, and then we're gonna I'm gonna show some comic strips, and then I'm gonna drop the link.
So, my gosh, Stevie, where can everybody find your stuff?
You can find me everywhere by searching Truth or Demons podcast on all social media, on Spotify, on any podcast platform, as well as YouTube.
And it is some incredible stuff. Again, I give you kudos because everybody who watches this really needs to go over to your page and check it out, because I love going through, because every single one is such a breakdown of whatever you're talking about. I mean, you dissect it, you pull up all the real information. And I hope that every single person who watches this watches your stuff and shares the hell out of it, because it really needs to get out there more. And that's when initially I talked to you. I was like, hey, I just watched this video of yours, and I can't understand why it's only played this many times, because it should be playing hundreds and hundreds of thousands of times, because it's amazing all the stuff that you've pulled out.
Thank you so much. That means so much to me. I really appreciate that. I could cry. I love doing this. I love sharing with people. And I love that response, that reaction of people being like, wow, this information is so great. That makes my day. I love that so much.
You are awesome. And we will definitely talk again. But thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me.
Yes, thank you for having me.
All right. You have a great night.
You too.
Hey, I'm getting trolled. Listen, it's all because
I really missed us. I just wanted to know what he was thinking about.
like people just miss me. So I was sent a link on Discord. What the fuck is this?
Hold on. This is my favorite. Hold on. Her sister was a witch, right? And what was her sister? A princess. The Wicked Witch of the East, bro. I'm gonna stab him. You're gonna look at me and you're gonna tell me that I'm wrong? Am I wrong? My favorite she wore a crown and she came down in a bubble, dog. I'm not fighting with you. Grow up, I'm not fighting with you. Grow up. Get educated. Hold on. This is my favorite. Hold on. Her sister was a witch, right? And what was her sister? A princess. The Wicked Witch of the East, bro. I'm gonna stab him. You're gonna look at me and you're gonna tell me that I'm wrong? Am I wrong? My favorite she wore a crown and she came down in a bubble, dog. I'm not fighting with you. Grow up, I'm not fighting with you. Grow up. Get educated. Hold on. This is my favorite. Hold on.
Okay, that was interesting. Holy shit. All right, let me clear some stuff out. And I do have just really quick, before I show the comic book strips, remember to get your merch at dustparanormal.com, and you can get your stickers. You know, if you believe that I'm a dramatic, uncouth, slanderous, trite channel, you might want this sticker for your car. You know, or if you think paranormal rule number 1 is, if it doesn't make sense, it's probably demons. Or maybe you watch so many paranormal shows, you thought, well, I just graduated paranormal college, the Trust Me Bro University, you know, Department of Paranormal Studies, you know, who knows? Or maybe you want a Tumblr, you know, to remind you of these things. Maybe you want a Tumblr that says that you're gonna check Trust Me Bro over research, documentation, or verification, you know. Or maybe you just want a badass Tumblr of our new character Scratch, you know. Or some shirts or hoodies. Like, I got some pretty fire stuff, and the link is still pinned in the chat. You know, this stuff is going to be around until the end of August, then all of it is going away to make room for the Halloween stuff. So go to dustparanormal.com and get your hate merch on, okay? Everybody knows, everybody fucking here knows and wants a dramatic, uncouth, slanderous, trite channel shirt that just spells out dust. You know, it's like magic. All right. I gotta close some of these tabs. I'm gonna show some things. I'm gonna drop the link. Actually, I have a segment. I want to know. I am also going away. Where are you going? Must be late for you, huh? All right. Well, I'm gonna start a segment where maybe I'll show comic strips with the Dust Devil crew. I'm gonna play this song real quick, and I'm gonna get ready. And then it's just like a few. And then we'll, then I'll drop the link.
They're spooky! They're silly! They're the Dust Devil crew! Who's a ghost who loves to shout? Floating around and hanging out. The Dust Devil leads the way, looking for adventure every day. Vant watches from the sky,
keeping a careful ghostly eye.
Scratch the cat is good as new, newest member of the crew. Dust Devil crew.
Dust Devil crew.
Boo goes boo, I mean who, and Scratch goes meow, bitch. Fan out live.
Dust Devil too.
Nobody rocks like the Dust Devil crew.
Ooh.
Scratch.
Fans out.
Dust Devil.
So this is going to be the, well, maybe the new segment, if you guys like this. All right, so we got the Dust Devil crew comic strip. We don't believe in ghosts, we believe in common sense, exposing the paranormal circus. Is there anyone here? Static? Beep? Wow, so clear. Wind? Yep, clearly just bad audio and a bad mic. That was really definitely a spirit. I got a feeling. Yeah, a feeling called lack of sleep and too much coffee. This haunted item changed my life. Get yours now, $399.99. Not haunted, just overpriced and overhyped. That's definitely a ghost or a bug, a shadow, or your imagination. Copyright strike, criticize us, hurt our feelings, told the truth, take it down. The truth hurts. Good. Maybe it'll help. We're not here to believe your lies. We're here to expose them. We don't need fancy equipment or fake stories, just facts, logic, and a little bit of sarcasm. Stay resilient, or stay resistant, dust devils. All right. And there's another one. Another day at the Dusty Dome. Hey, Boo, you know what's funnier than a paranormal show? What? The comment section. Ha. Boo? I mean, who? The only thing more haunted than a warehouse at 3 a.m. is their credibility. Their evidence is like a toy mouse, fake and falls apart easy. Group selfie. Say dust didn't miss. Dust didn't miss. Sugar and skepticism. Guilty pleasure. Another perfect day with the crew. Drama, donuts, and dropping truth bombs. I wish I could have donuts. You can't strike us down. Boo, I mean who? The end, or is it? Next one. This one's long. Boo. What did you do now? Nothing. I just cracked the schedule, or checked the schedule, and added a few important things. A nap is not a plan, Boo. It's the most important part. Meow, right? Ooh, this place gives me the creeps. Finally, my kind of store. Warning, do not abandon mall. Escalator. Do I look like I do cardio? Boo. And it looks like people are running away from the Dust Devil crew. I quit. I'm never shopping again. Mission accomplished. Best haunt ever. I prefer easiest. Can we do it again tomorrow? Hello, paranormal police? Yeah, got another complaint. They scared me in the mall. It's traumatic. I just want justice. Paranormal police? You mean the Dust Devil crew? Yeah, we know them. We love them. Honestly, sir, you should be thanking them. They make this job way more fun. Most wanted, which is the Dust Devil crew, reward endless snacks and respect. Look, we're famous. We're not famous, Boo. We're legendary. Remember, my friends, we don't just haunt. We entertain. There's a difference. We are chaos. We are Boo. We are wisdom. We are Scratch. The Dust Devil crew. Another one for the Dusty Dome. Who's ready to cause some paranormal mayhem? I brought the snacks. I call movie night. I prefer documentaries that make humans look stupid. That's just a dust bunny with Wi-Fi and a terrible actor. I could fake that in my sleep. It's called a... I don't know what that is. Boo? I mean, who? Get wrecked, bro. Next. Another day of educating the masses. Mission accomplished. Time for a nap. Truly an endless source of entertainment, which is Human Stupidity Volume 1. Is that one of the Warrens books? I don't know. Don't ask what. How does who? Have you been drinking? We're not supposed to ask that, apparently. Have you been drinking? That's been a running joke in my Discord. Have you been drinking? So let me know if you guys like the comic book strips. If you do, then I'll make a few more for the next one. It's a way we can utilize our Dust Devil crew characters. But if... Oh yeah, I forgot about this. So guys, and I don't know if Florio, she probably ain't watching now, but someone apparently commented, I don't normally comment, but I subbed you because I thought you did give a fuck and had balls. You were totally gonna interview Biff and you just clickbaited us. You're simping for Florio and she has your balls in her purse. You might as well let her take over. You mod the chat at this point. I didn't know that my balls were missing. Holy fuck. Florio, can you mail those back to me? I don't fucking know what to say. Like, what? See, like, people think like a boy and a girl cannot be friends. No, that's totally possible. Dust Joseph Paranormal, you stop right now or I will time you out. My middle name is not Joseph. It's Jackass. Sounds like a Chris Sock account. It really does. So for the person that wrote this, fuck off. I would tell you to suck my balls, but apparently they're missing. I don't fucking know what. I'm gonna drop the link. Do I expect people to come up? People haven't been lately, and that's fine. Just everybody remember to get your hate merch at dustparanormal.com. Okay, I gotta afford new balls because apparently mine are missing. Alright? So go buy some stickers. Go buy some stickers. I gotta go buy some new balls. Or buy a Tumblr. Dustparanormal.com. Scratch is a cool looking character, alright? That meow bitch. Like, that's a cool looking Tumblr. You know what I'm saying? I have to do my grift. Oh, we have a $4.99 super chat from Watermelon. I'm back and I hope you guys missed me because I missed all of you. I am fat thumbing it now. I don't know what fat thumbing it means. What the fuck does like, listen. Florio, Rebecca Files, be nice, dear brother. Thank you for your support. Yeah, me and Florio do fight like siblings because like we'll talk about shit and like because you know I was the bad boy into cars and this and that and she's not into more than half the shit that I'm into, but we do like talking about some things. But like we'll talk about some shit and disagree and we'll just start fucking with each other. Like some of the best conversations, man. Let me tell you. I know that Tumblr is sick. All right, y'all need to get your Scratch Tumblr. I'm really hoping that this dramatic, uncouth, slanderous, trite channel Tumblr sells. Like my favorite ones is obviously the Scratch one, but I like this one and this one. Those are my three favorites. Yeah, Beardo says, I give teacher energy. Like, I'll yell at you for mucking around in class. I don't know. You don't give teacher energy to me. You're like little sister energy to me. And then like we just bicker about things. And then we both laugh at it because it's fine. I don't know. What are you trying to teach Beardo? I don't fucking know. Are you teaching him Wiccan stuff? Or I thought Ladies Right was a teacher. She was a teacher, not anymore. Well, with you, Dust, we just fight like siblings. That's true, and that's what I like about our friendship, to be honest with you. All right, well, let me drop the link for maybe a few people. Enter studio. Because some people say that this is not the Thunderdome, but it really is. All right, I'm about to change the pinned link. So go to dustparanormal.com for the merch. The new pinned message is the link that has been dropped. I'm going to play a song, and then we'll see who comes up.
Come get the smoke! Come get the smoke! Come get the smoke! The link has dropped! Welcome to the Dusty Dome! Come get the smoke! Come get the smoke! Come get the smoke! Come get the smoke! Dust Devils in the house tonight! Come get the smoke! The link has dropped! Come get the smoke! The link has dropped! Who's ready? We're ready! Who's watching? We're watching! Where we at? The Dusty Dome! Come get the smoke!
Come get the smoke!
Come get the smoke! Come get the smoke!
Come get the smoke or you'll be biffed.
Dust Devils in the house tonight! Come get the smoke! The link has dropped! Come get the smoke! The link has dropped! Click that link! Don't stop! Clap. Join the stream! Don't stop! Clap. Click that link! Don't stop! Clap. Join the team! Come get the smoke! Come get the smoke! The link has dropped! The link has dropped! The link has dropped! Dust Devils! Dust Devils! Welcome to the Dusty Dome!
All right.
Come get this!
So we do have some people that click the link and go to StreamYard. Boom. Okay. We got two people up in here. I'm gonna just bring them both up at the same time. Please welcome Scarborough and T-Bags.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
What's up, guys? How you doing tonight?
Good.
Oh, hanging in there.
Yeah. So what do I gotta ask? So what do you guys think? It's very controversial. I keep making all these characters and people say I'm grifting. What do you think of Scratch, our newest character?
Oh, I love Scratch. I think Scratch is great. When it made the meow, I was like, oh, that's familiar.
Yeah, I want like a stuffed animal of Scratch. That would be great.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I mean, so what do you guys think about speaking ill of the dead? Do you think that Jason Hawes and Stevie were speaking ill of the dead? And if they were, is that necessarily a bad thing?
Well, so I popped in here because you called me out. I did finish the article. It will be posted. And it's on that exact
Okay.
don't think that I don't think that they are speaking ill of the dead. If that were a thing, right, there'd be no history books. So, yeah.
Okay, and when you do post that article, I'll post it in the community post on my channel.
Thank you.
Can read it for sure. What do you think, Doug?
I don't like people were saying, "Oh, you're speaking ill of the dead." I don't think they watched the damn video.
I don't think so either.
Because yes, they like brought up some uncomfortable things, but it's like everything that they're talking about is backed up by articles or folks that knew them, or it's like it's not. I'd rather know actually about people, even if it's uncomfortable, than have just a completely like rose tinted shade kind of version of everything.
I do think, sure, it is completely reasonable and understandable to take consideration for those that are survivors or surviving, right? Like the family members, especially those that aren't members of the paranormal. Like if you have a little kid or something that stumbles across it, sure, that's understandable. But just because they've passed, their legacy still continues. And that legacy deserves to be talked about, explored, scrutinized, what have you.
Right. And someone in the chat, I believe it was Florio, was like, well, if you can't speak ill of the dead, then you shouldn't talk about Hitler either.
Exactly.
Did some fucked up shit, but you shouldn't speak ill of him. He's probably in hell burning right now, but you probably shouldn't talk about that. All the debunkers, you can tell all the debunkers they're going to burn in hell. But
well, that's the thing, man. The people that they bring to the Warren Museum and the Warren House, the ones that have been posting their videos, seem to think that Ed is still there because they think they're talking to him. It's like, boy, really?
Right.
It's kind of like what I posted earlier. The one clip of it that I did use was when I said history cannot function if death grants immunity to scrutiny, right? So like they were public figures, something Florio says all the time. And as public figures, just because they have gone doesn't mean their legacy has. So as public figures, we are allowed to continue to talk about them, what they have done, as long as it's done in a respectful manner. Scrutiny does not necessarily equal disrespect.
I agree. Yeah, and I find it interesting. Really quick, I'm gonna bring him up here, ladies and gentlemen. Big Rudy. But really quick, I do want to say, I find it. Don't you guys find it interesting that Tony Spera has not made a post about this when he's recently made a post saying that he would defend Ed and Lorraine, and yet this video comes out and there's nothing but crickets. I'm just curious if he's going to respond. And the same would be for Elton. Do any of you guys think that those two will respond in any way?
I think they will at some point. Tony's posts seem to generally be aimed at the historian video. It was the third in a series of kind of paranormal sins things that he did about Warrens. We might just need to wait a few more days on Tony. Elton, he might respond, but if he does, it'll be in chat. Because he's actually setting up the Warren Museum in Salem right now.
Gotcha.
I actually got some photos of like the signs getting changed and stuff that I'll send into the Discord later. We can bring it up next time maybe.
So you just think he's busy?
Yeah, I mean it's like if he's smart, he's busy. Because if he's like having a feud with Jason on many levels, that's not going to do that good for his attendance, I think, at the Salem Museum.
Gotcha. So, Rudy, what do you think, really quick, because you just came up?
Oh, about the interview with Joe and Stevie did?
The Jason and Stevie, yeah.
It was really good and great information because I came in like 3 months into the paranormal and debunker because you the one who introduced me to Stevie and Birdo more. And like I follow like more into the movies, and I found out that made like the books also. Like 2 years later, I buy a book. It's the demonology. It's called the Conjuring Universe.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I showed you a picture a while back. Like when Lorraine Warren or Ed with the Annabelle doll.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Stevie do talk about it a little bit in her more detail about the history, because Hollywood do change stuff. If you read like back in the days as a kid, reading books, and you watch the movie, it's way different.
Yeah, a lot of people said that the stories do not line up, and literally people just write fiction were told to write some of that stuff, so that really tells you a lot. T-Bex, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just thinking about earlier, we were, I know it sounds like I'm hopping topics, but they're kind of linked. When people were saying, is Jason too close to this? That argument might have had legs if he hadn't been so consistent and transparent and open as he has been throughout the years, which he has. So unfortunately, a conflict of interest argument can't really fully be made there, in my humble opinion, just because he has been so transparent about it and very consistent throughout the years. He's like, I know these people, I did this, that, and the other thing. And so for me, that argument just sort of fell flat.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
But that is something, because people were bringing that up in some comments, so I thought it was important to at least ask that question.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, what else is going on? So that article, when do you think that article is going to drop that you did?
It's done. You're welcome to drop it anytime. I can send it to you.
Okay, I'll probably do a community post tonight or tomorrow. Just send me the link later tonight. Also, what else do we got going on? What's the weather like by all you guys?
It's behaving for now.
Yeah, it's being sunny in New Hampshire, but it's like about 80 to 85 instead of like 105. So, we'll keep it at the 85. That's not as bad.
Max keeps telling me to watch out, but so far it's been blue skies all the way. So
yeah, I'm told Monday and Tuesday are going to be horrible. So
Sunday for me will be horrible.
Awful, God, awful. But yeah, this I just wonder what else is going to come out. What else? Who's going to make a statement? You can bet your ass that if anyone relevant to this makes a statement, I will definitely cover it. Just because, like, I've shown one side. It would have been nice if Tony made a post and I could show his statement, or Elton or whoever, but they haven't said anything yet that I have noticed. So it is what it is, John Zaffis hasn't even really, like, I think maybe he made like a cryptic post, but He hasn't directly said anything yet. Who knows if he will? We'll see.
I saw him making posts. He's in Gettysburg right now, so he might be a little bit busy too.
Yeah, everybody's busy right now. It's a busy time of the year, and it's definitely the slowest time on YouTube. That's for damn sure. But luckily, that has not really affected Jason Hawes's video because it's getting good views, and I hope it goes up. I hope that video hits 100,000 views. That's the dream. That's the goal. You know.
That would be amazing.
Cool.
What do you think about Stevie? She gained like 2,000 subscribers or so from that video. I think it's long overdue with all the research that she has done. What do you guys think about her finally getting some like really good coverage?
No, I think it's amazing. All that hard work finally pay off. You know, I mean, I know it's paid off for her before, but like, she deserves it more than anything.
Yeah, she's finally getting her flowers and stuff. So it's like finally.
Yeah, she fought for that.
Yeah, literally, all of Stevie's haters are literally punching the air right now. Literally, that's what I think.
Yeah, for me, I'm so happy for Stevie because she earned it. And how you do it, you need to promote yourself more, like in social media, like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and people know who you are. And like, it's working to build an audience up, and I'm glad she's building her audience more. So I'll give her 100% credit what she's doing so she receive her flower.
I don't know. Someone asked which lawsuit. There are so many. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, I think they're talking about the Judy Penny stuff.
Oh,
and with the legal stuff that was pulled up for the Vice article, which is how the general public started to actually know about Judy Penny.
Is that the one where she was like, "It's all okay, I agreed to it"? Was that?
Well, it's the one that she's like, "Well, I still love Ed," and it's like, "Well, you started, when you're 15 and he was your bus driver. That's a little difficult to actually give consent at that point."
Yeah.
Nasty. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to shut it down, guys. I'll probably be in voice chat for a bit. I might stream Saturday and react to the interview I did with Stevie. And we'll see. Be Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, sounds good.
But thank you all for coming up tonight. I appreciate you all.
Appreciate you too.
All right, you guys
Thank you.
you guys have a good night.
Good night.
Night.
All right. Oh, my damn camera turned off. All right, guys. So that is the stream tonight. I think that it did pretty well. Let me grift one more time. Go to dustparanormal.com, get your merch. Links in the chat. All right. Yeah, I'm probably going to stream maybe Saturday. And we will, react to the Stevie interview and see what else we can do Saturday. Why did my camera not turn on? What the hell? I mean, that was kind of fucked up. Camera problems. I do have a spare camera if something ever happens here. Alright. Alright, guys. Stream probably Saturday. If nothing, after Saturday, if nothing major in the paranormal happens, I'm gonna put out on the main channel, I'll probably do a regular YouTube drama live stream next week. Alright? So you all take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. And we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah. Born in the shadows where the moon don't shine. Red eyes glowing like a warning sign. Got horns on my head and a grin so wide. If you're looking for trouble, I'm already inside. Claws like razors, fur black as night. Every step I take starts another fight. Got a wicked little grin and a taste for the mess. You could bring your best shot, I'll handle the rest. I'm Scratch, king of the alley, ruler of the dark, leaving little claw marks on your heart. Scratch, tail like fire, wings spread wide, got a devil's grin and nowhere to hide. Nowhere to hide. Knew it's Dust Devil, yeah, I joined the pack. And you know this little troublemaker ain't looking back. Hanging with Boo when he's asking who. Fan out overhead, keeping watch on you. Dust Devil laughing while we're raising some hell. Welcome to Dust Paranormal where the outcast dwell. 9 lives, now I lost count at 10. I keep coming back again and again. I'm Scratch, little devil cat with a big back plan. Meanest feline in the Shadowlands. Scratch, newest Dust Devil and I'm here to stay. Bringing midnight mischief every single day.
The ghost.
Fan out.
Dust Devil.
And me. And me.